Hello, 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 everyone. My cat is trying to get me to play, and I'm not able to do that. She keeps walking in front of me. Let's see if she's going to do here. Okay. You going to lay down? All right. Anyway, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Nocturnal Nerdcast. We have a few topics tonight. I don't think this is going to be as long as a normal stream. I'm thinking a couple of hours.
You never know where the night will take you, Eric.
I know, it could be.
I think they say that in France.
It could 100% be as long as a normal stream.
But I don't have 2 hours from now. You might be shirtless in the corner twerking. We have no idea where things can go.
I don't have as many topics. That's what it is. I have a big weekend. Obviously, we have the 5-hour stream on Saturday, and tomorrow getting haircut. I'm going to the barber shop, so I'll be doing that tomorrow. So I have to get up early and do that. I have to work tomorrow night. I work Saturday night with a 5-hour stream. And we might have another snowstorm on Monday. So I don't know. It's pretty crazy. But we have Paigey, we have 3Dub. I don't see Darren yet. I don't know if he's coming in. He did leave a little fireball on the link, so maybe he'll show up. So what is going on with you guys? What's happening in your worlds right now?
Oh god, I only just fucking. I felt like I have a bit of a. You know when you're lying down and you accidentally fall asleep. I had one of those situations, but I had my phone on like alarm. I wanted like a midday nap, so like a nap for like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dog climbed up on the bed, so it's sort of hard not to have a nap when your dog's next to you as well. So apparently, like falling asleep with your dog makes it easier to go to sleep or something, or just a pet in general, even if you're like a cat or a gerbil. I don't know if you want to go to sleep with your gerbil.
Well, no gerbils.
I feel like you might wake up to flat gerbil if that happened. But
okay, interesting. What about you, 3Dub? What's been?
I had an inspection today and I passed, so I'm kind of happy about that.
Inspection for
my apartment. Basically, they do a yearly inspection to make sure nothing's broken and livable. I have nothing, so obviously it's clean.
How long have you been living there? You say yearly, so you've been there longer than a year.
Yeah, it's been about 3 years now.
Okay, so when you moved,
2021.
Okay, were you in an apartment before that or a house?
Apartment, yeah.
Okay.
I've been living on my own since like 2014. So.
Okay, all right, got it. So it makes sense. Anyway, welcome to the stream, everyone. Congratulations, 3Dub, on that. That's pretty cool. We have some interesting stuff to discuss tonight. We have the Daredevil trailer, which I've seen bits and pieces of it. I haven't watched it all the way through yet, so we'll be watching that in just a bit. We got some news on Doctor Strange, possibly the next movie, possibly a new TV show. Maybe.
I thought you were going to say we got news on Dr. Pepper.
No, but I do have Dr. Pepper Zero right now.
That's why I thought there might have been a breaking news in the world of Dr. Pepper.
Actually, this is the only important doctor. Who needs Doctor Strange when you have Dr. Pepper?
What about Dr. Perky?
No, thankfully I'm done with those. I'm done with all that.
Dr. No.
Yeah. Wait, what is that? Is that another
That's a James Bond villain.
Gotcha. I thought it was another. Like I was gonna say, is that a new drink?
It's the James Bond with the nipple ring weapon things.
I saw this. This was sad and also funny.
Oh my
so
god!
It's like one of those
Anthony's even gone full out to have the fucking photo as well.
Yeah, like
I'm sorry, Anne's an idiot. How did you believe that photo? Like some of the other photos were half convincing, but there was one where the photo was taken mid-surgery or something. I'm like, sorry, it's not.
Well, I didn't read enough of the article. Was this an older woman? Or
I don't know.
I think it was.
I don't think she was like that old. I think she was like middle aged, maybe. I think she was like
in her 40s or.
Yeah, that's like middle age. Yeah, she
that's
wasn't
not
like
really
70
that
or
old,
something.
actually. Like, yeah, I mean, like 40s is the new 20. So,
well, 40s is like middle age. That's when people have their midlife crisis, like Eric.
No, it is. But I'm saying like that doesn't. I could, if it were like a 70-year-old person, I'd be like, it tracks, right? But yeah, I feel like you should know better. But I will say this is a really good cautionary tale for AI. So So 53. I still think that's a little too young to be tricked by AI Brad Pitt.
Well, especially nowadays, like what? Like that's like, I mean, when the internet's been around for like 30 years, so.
The Arrowverse meme thing was not going to be a stream; it was a topic in a stream.
Yeah.
And if Pagey has some, we'll do it on Saturday. If he has some banked up, I have a few that I've got.
What do you mean banked up?
Like locked in. If you have a few of them locked in.
I think Saturday. Banking up is geeking out, to be completely honest.
Yes, it'll be a topic. On Saturday, I'm going to go through everything that we, like I said, I think I've talked about this a few times. Everything that hasn't been done in individual streams this past month will be done on Saturday. So, Naruto, member for 34 months. Thank you so much, Naruto. 3 weeks till Invincible Season 3. I'm excited for this. Pagey doesn't really watch animation, so he doesn't care.
I'll tell you what I have been watching, though. I didn't watch it the first time it was around, but I've been watching it. I'm like addicted to watching it. Like halfway through season 2, I only started. I hate binge watching shows as well, but it just sort of gets my. But that show, The Newsroom, did you ever watch that when it came out?
Yeah,
it's like 10 years. It's over 10 years old, but I just missed it. It was like just when I wasn't watching like other shows and stuff like that, or it came around the bad time. But I've been catching up on that. I think I'd seen a few episodes before, but I had never committed to it. So now I'm like addicted to that.
Fetman coming in with the hot info. What baffles me is she was apparently married to a millionaire too, and thought she was getting with Brad Pitt. So that's even. Oh my God. Anyway. So where was I going? I completely got sidetracked there. The reaction stream that we did on Tuesday. So apparently you guys really loved it. At least that's what I'm seeing in the feedback. So what we're doing with the goal today is we're going with five teal super chats, I believe is what it is. 5 teal, which is the $5 one. So if we get five $5 super chats in the next 2 hours, we'll do another one of those streams, and you guys can suggest stuff. I'll put it in the community tab just like I did last time, and you guys can jump in there and say, hey, go watch this. Everybody seemed to really like it, even though it felt like it was kind of chaotic. Yeah, a lot of people seem to care for it. I guess it was all the laughing we did over that second one, because the first one was relatively good. The second one was like,
yeah, the I don't know, like I don't really know if there was much of a line between porn parody and whatever that was.
Yeah, it was very, very, very close.
Like as I said, there was a cock and ball warning, I think, for the entire thing, right up until the end. Even when he came out of the lava, like where you had it was lucky that they cock and ball was removed.
You know, I've seen a lot of people also upset that, you know, one of the things I've noticed on YouTube, and I should have told myself this, but, you know, I feel like it changes every time, but people either want you to 100% hate stuff or 100% love stuff.
Well, yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Well, yeah, people either glazing or they're completely hating, and it's just like, and that's why it's hard to have a conversation. Like even sometimes when we're talking here, and there's, I mean, I don't think there's anyone in the chat at the moment. I think it's all pretty mellow at the moment. But you get people in the chat like, no, you have to love it. No, you have to not like it.
Yeah. I think it's a little weird because I go back and I don't rewatch streams because they're way too long. It's like if I go back and watch all of them, it's like way too much. I couldn't do the streams if I'm watching the stream.
And you'll get PTSD thinking of like the yellow.
Oh yeah, of course.
Stuff
but
like that.
I do read the comments and I see people that are upset when I don't 100% like praise something, and I'm like, my channel's never been. Like, if you've been watching me for any amount of time, you'll know that's never been what my channel is. And I actually think that's part of the reason that YouTube algorithm doesn't pick up my content as much, because you either have to be, like you said, 100%, like, no offense to the channels that do this, but you have to hype something up 100%, or you have to be 100% negative or something.
Well, yeah,
like,
that's it. I was always like, I don't want to say, point Dexter, but I always tried to be fairly smart with that, where I would present it in a very overly positive way, but I would critique stuff as well. But I just wouldn't like sit there for half the video going, wow, I fucking hated that bit. Even if it was a bad episode, maybe it goes up to like 25% of the discussion around it is like, okay, well, maybe they should have done this better. This is what I would have done. Why did this happen? I don't even know what they were thinking here. Was there weed involved? Who was there harsh hallucinogenics involved when this decision was made? but I think we've talked about it before, where like almost like a lot of nuances taken out of certain discussions and stuff. Like even when we're talking about like the hypotheticals about like, when was it, like a couple of weeks ago or something, when I was like, oh, will Superman do well in the box office? Someone was like, stop talking about it. It's like, but we're discussing it, just seeing like what's the hypothetical situation around that. So you either have to shut up and not talk about it and just remain completely positive.
I
but
think
we're not sitting here going it's going to fail, or you gotta like have some sort of discussion around it.
I think some people have PTSD from the channels that do blanketly hate stuff, and I get that. You know what I mean? They come in and they hear you saying, "Oh, I didn't like the suit," and they immediately think that that's what the conversation is. And I'm like, no, like there's things I like about the suit. There's things I don't like about the suit. I'm pretty fair about that.
Yeah, I think it's like a situation where like, if those channels are like a grinding day of work where you're like, fuck, I'm so tired, I'm sick of my boss, and drains me mentally, emotionally, physically. And instead of just having a nice dinner, chilling it out, having a nice glass of Dr. Perky or something while watching TV, they're snorting 10 lines of cocaine. And that's the overly positive stuff. And just like, that's not the way to balance it off. Like, that's not the way to balance it off.
I would rather listen to podcasts having conversations like we're having, where people are talking about what they like and don't like.
Well, people, you know what the biggest thing, I think it's also people being honest as well. Like that one thing I'll always say is that I'm honest, regardless of whether people like it. But it's also,
that got us in so much trouble with freaking The Flash and the whole Iris West stuff and everything.
But we were never overly harsh. We were just honest.
No, but I know, but it got us pulled into that online. I remember during the height of like the show, we were all right.
But to be fair, we also got like level-headed people that liked Iris and the West Allen thing. They were like, yeah, okay, I agree with that.
Well, no, that's the people we were talking to. Like everybody that's here in the chat now, all you guys are amazing. Like the ones that come in and you're here to talk about things you love, things you don't like, and you sort of keep it real with us. Like that's the kind of stuff I like.
Well, except maybe outside of the Anthonys. I'm joking. Chill out. I'm joking. Anthony plurals. I'm joking.
But outside of that, like if you were to go and look at what people were saying, like not now because obviously the shows are not on, but during the time the shows were on, if you went and you looked on like Twitter or Reddit or whatever, almost every month you would find something being said about you or I during a stream where we were streaming and talking about something, and they would go and say, oh, you're not going to believe what they said, but then they leave out the fact that we would say something like, oh, Iris had a really good storyline this month or something like that. They would leave all that out because they wanted to make sure that we looked bad, and so I get it. But I do appreciate the fact that, this is what these streams are. They're like actual conversations, casual conversations about the stuff we like and don't like. And, if YouTube doesn't care about that, then so be it. Really, I think YouTube has a hard time classifying content that isn't extreme because the algorithm isn't designed for nuance. It's designed for people that click on one type of thing all the time. You know what I mean? Like, so if you click on a video about gooning elephants, right? That's what the video is.
That's literally a term I've never heard in my entire life.
Well, I'm just making it up. It's probably not a real thing. But if you click on a video about gooning elephants, then YouTube is going to constantly push gooning elephants into your feed. So it's just the way it is.
Do not Google that, by the way.
I don't know if it's a real thing. I just made it. It might be real.
Well, there might be some like weird, like, was that Grok AI, the Twitter image thing? Like,
oh my God! Don't even bring
do not look that up.
Darren, you hopped in just in time. No, we were talking about how YouTube's algorithm only pushes like extreme content. It doesn't have room for people that have honest conversations. It's about getting the most, like the biggest group of people to sort of mindlessly follow behind your content. So I was telling the chat, I appreciate everybody that's here because honestly, looking at all the podcasts out there that do the more nuanced conversations, there's not a lot of them that have as many supporters as we have. So I'm really happy that people do come in to chat with us because without this, none of this would even be happening. So 3Dub is, I don't know what that was that just happened. Harrison says you might be the first person ever to say gooning followed by elephants in history. Maybe. Anthony, just in time for the gooning elephants. Canada graphs. Eric just mentioned gooning elephants for the algorithm. Maybe, possibly. By the way, the video went yellow. I had a yellow caution thing on my video after we had that conversation. So I'm pretty sure we'll probably do it again.
I'm under the high belief it's because of that dolphin that was humping.
I don't think that's what it was, though. I know you said that a couple times now. I don't think that's what it was. I don't think it was the dolphin.
I don't know. Maybe YouTube might explain it. We might get an explanation.
Maybe we'll see. I don't know. No, they actually cleared it though. They cleared it after they reviewed it.
Oh yeah, because they must have seen it. Hey, you only showed like 10% of that dolphin.
I'm surprised they got back as soon as they did. Usually it takes about a week. It was only a couple days. Naruto with a $5 super chat. What was that? Huh?
Did the reaction stream get hit too, or no?
No.
No. Okay.
No, just
That's
the
kind of surprising.
Well, actually, it was just one of the 2 streams. It was on the Debunks channel. They got
on the Woke Mind
but not on the Reloaded channel. So I'm like, I'm under the impression that somebody over there is a hater, and they must have reported it. Guess what turned 10 years old this year? The Force Awakens. Holy shit! Has it really been 10 years?
You know what turned 5 yesterday, or the day before? Crisis.
Eric's Love. I was gonna say Eric's
Crisis
Love
crossover event.
Yeah, has nothing to do with a love child. But yeah, so it's I
can't believe that Crisis and God 5 years.
I know that's crazy.
5 years. That is crazy.
Yeah, because it came out right before COVID.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's
they
why
got
everybody
it
was
just in time.
And you know what's funny is everyone kept blaming Crisis for the problems. They're like, "Oh, it was Crisis." I'm like, it could have been COVID too because it happened right after COVID or right before COVID. So,
yeah.
3Dub is like, I'm going to use a circle icon whether you want to use it or not. Yeah. I saw in Party Nation they went back to the rectangles. I was like, oh, why did that happen?
Well, I mean, I like not showing a lot of my apartment. I don't know about everyone else, but
yeah. No, but I mean, like they went back to like these size boxes on Party Nation. I noticed they've been doing.
Yeah, I did that on purpose because apparently people are happier that way.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Yours truly says, so this is yet to be determined. Will the stream be geeked out or locked in today? We'll have to wait and see where it goes. Before we get started, though, and get into the fun stuff, I do want to say RIP to David Lynch. I saw that today. Yeah. I didn't watch all of his work, but I enjoyed the stuff that I did see, and I know a lot of people were huge fans of him. So that was sad to see. We're losing a lot of like icons now because it's just that time. I mean, you're talking about people that have been around for 60, 70, 80 years. So
paragraphs. I don't like when people comment that my apartment is like literally empty. I have nothing.
Are we confirming or denying that 3Dub's apartment is a crack dungeon?
No. I don't think it's that.
No.
There's pipes everywhere.
So, all right, we got a bunch of stuff to get into. It's a bunch of stuff we have to get into, and so it is time for. All right, so we're going to start out with the most important story of the day. Doritos UK caused outrage after teasing a new chip shape. I thought this was interesting. Apparently, they've decided that it's going to be square instead of a triangle. So, is this a troll or what is this? What do you think? Do you think it's a marketing thing? Is what I'm basically.
Well, we've had over here in Australia, we've had like different shaped Doritos. I think they did like a Dorito cracker or something like that. I know they've done the 3D ones, which are just triangle anyway, but they're just like a 3D like.
How dare you? Doritos are supposed to have 3 corners.
But yeah. Well, I mean the fucking logo. Look at the logo. I mean, if they're gonna change that, yeah, I'm assuming it's just like I don't know. Like, it looks like it looks like
Cheez-Its.
Holy crap! All right, wait a second. Go ahead. Yeah, no. What one go?
I was going to say like it's trying to be Cheez-Its.
Yeah, so it doesn't have the 4 little thingies that Cheez-Its have in it. And the little. So what were you gonna say, Darren?
Yeah, I mean, I work at a grocery store, and I feel like every couple weeks there's like a new Dorito flavor coming out, which I don't remember them ever doing. Like, I felt like for a long time they were the one brand that was kind of like, okay, we have 2 flavors, maybe 3, and that's it. And now every month there's a new kind of Dorito flavor. So I'm wondering if there's like a rehaul on Doritos to like remarket, rebrand to like this bigger thing where they have like more like varieties of kinds. So. I mean, if it's just one kind of like Dorito, I don't.
But I wonder if it's more than just the shape, because the shape seems like a gimmick thing. Like, why would you? Yeah. What would be the purpose of changing the shape, especially when all of your branding like Paigey was saying, is the
rectangle
triangle. Right. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a little weird. I will say this though, I will stop eating Doritos if they become squares. So
it seems inconvenient. Like the triangle just feels like it's a good shape for picking up and dipping as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Like a square, like, I mean, I know they say it's hip to be square, but that song was also released in the 80s.
Now I really want a Dorito.
Yeah. I should have gotten some from the store today, but I didn't. Canada said, just cut the Dorito in half, it'll be 2 Doritos. Yeah.
Instead of it having 3 points, it has 4 points now.
So I don't know how big Starbucks is where everybody else is, but I saw this and it's kind of interesting because they were known for like just come in, use our Wi-Fi, use our bathroom. Like they didn't really stop people from chilling in the store. And I guess they've had some issues with that. So now you have to buy something to hang out in Starbucks. To be quite honest, I didn't realize that you could just go in there without buying anything. I thought you had to have something, but apparently part of their business model was they didn't tell people to leave. So,
I saw that. Go ahead. Go ahead.
McDonald's had kind of like a thing to where you had to buy like $1, and now they raised that price up to like $1.44. Nothing's really $1 anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw this and I kind of chuckled because, like, to me, this is just how I was raised. Like, it was always common courtesy where if you go into any establishment, you can't just use the bathroom. Get a candy bar, get something cheap, and then use the bathroom. Just because I always found it to be a bit rude to just go in and sit down or just use the bathroom. Like, get something, get like a $1 or something. Just I don't know. So. I mean, I get it because like a lot of college students, a lot of people go in, they'll just work in the morning and then they'll leave. So I definitely understand, but also from a business, I also get it. Like if you're going to their place of business, purchase like a croissant or something, just something. I don't know.
I just like you said, it was more of a courtesy thing. You know what I mean? Like a respect thing. I don't remember any place growing up where you could just go hang out. You know what I mean? We'd go to the arcade, and I'd always be playing a game or something. I wouldn't just hang out in there unless I had some sort of way to play games.
Right.
But we would always be in there with like change in our pocket. They'd be like, "You're not playing anything. Oh, let me put a quarter in something and play it."
Right.
But for the most part, it was always this way. When I think about hanging out, well, actually, I take that back. There are places you can go and hang out where you're not buying anything, and that would have been the mall back in the day. You'd go to the mall and hang out in the food court. They wouldn't tell you to leave as long as you're not causing any trouble.
Right.
Because you're still a potential customer at that point.
What
were you going to say, 3Dub?
One thing I kind of like, someone kind of brought up in the comments that the restroom sounds like an emergency. Like that, you can't hold it while standing in line for something to buy and then go to the restroom. When you go to Starbucks, you're like at the peak, like you need to go.
I think in the United States, one of the big issues, and I know this is going to sound silly, but one of the big things we have that seems like a lot of other countries have sort of tackled is a lack of public restrooms. Like if there's a shopping center somewhere where you have like 10 businesses in it, those businesses should not be beholden to making restrooms public for people. Like if you go into a TJ Maxx or wherever it is you're going to shop, there are public restrooms, but that shouldn't be the only public restrooms. I actually think the shopping centers should have some form of public restroom attached to the shopping center that they upkeep for customers. They just don't want to do it because they don't want to deal with the fact that people may be using those bathrooms without buying things. But you inconvenience actual people. I can guarantee you more customers would use those restrooms than random people who aren't there shopping. It just doesn't make any sense logistically. But a lot of other countries have either public urinals or some sort of like single stall bathroom available in areas where you go in to like shop and stuff like that. It just seems really silly to me that these companies were offering the restroom for people when it should be something that people are given, like by the actual shopping centers and things like that. It doesn't make any sense. Dane's here. Kids be like, "What is this mall you speak of?" Yeah, I know. I know I'm dating myself. Actually, we have a really popular mall around here that's always busy. It's like the one that's surviving mall. That literally always busy. I'm not being hyperbolic there. It's always people in there.
Yeah.
What's funny is one side of my mall is busy. Like it's like always the other side, but when the side that has the movie theater, it's pretty much all empty. Like there's no one there.
A lot of malls are struggling, but this one, it's Lynn Haven Mall. It's right here in the beach near the coast. It is always like, I'm not joking when I say it's just the entire mall. They actually have a waiting list for stores trying to get into the mall because it's just packed full of stores. There's no empty storefronts. There's no empty anchor stores. Every business there is filled up with something, which is highly unusual. Naruto with a $2 super chat says, I remember last year there was Dorito alcohol. I don't remember that. Like wine? Dorito wine, probably? Not sure about that. I don't remember that, but thanks for the super chat. Dane, give me let me know if you want to jump in and chat with us. I know it's late for you, but if you want to chat, let me know. I'll send the link. What is this, Pagey? Oh, coffee flavored Doritos? Oh. Is this a Photoshop? Or
no, this is they released in Australia last year as like I think a limited thing. Like some shops got them and stuff. They tasted surprisingly like arse. So yeah.
How would you know?
You'll get there 3 days once in life. You'll get there, but I never had them, but like you can just tell when people ate them that I don't even know what they. I think they legitimately smelt like instant coffee as well. Yeah, I don't really like coffee too much, to be completely honest either. Like I'll drink it, but I'm not the biggest fan. But we had the Coke Oreos here as well.
Yeah, we did have. I think they were a limited item though here. Honestly.
Yeah, I don't know if they're still in the thing here. I'm not too sure.
I want to show a picture that's really important to show. I think people need to understand the difference between the difference between being geeked out and being locked in.
Oh, okay.
So we have this picture here. So this is when you're geeked out, but you're also locked in. As you can see, I am in a.
Yeah, I have a question that I didn't notice this my first look at the photo. I noticed it the second. Why is there a chocolate dipped banana in front of me on a stick?
You know why.
I didn't notice this the first time around, but then I saw it the second time on the public Twitter feed, and I was like, hold on. Am I saying that correctly?
Well, I thought maybe when you're locked in, you like chocolate dipped bananas. I thought that might be the flavor profile of
like
locked in.
One of the only fruits in the world I don't like is a banana. I don't like bananas.
Well,
it's not just bananas as a smoothie.
It's a chocolate covered banana though.
I don't care. Like bananas freak me out. Like I don't like them.
So
I get like a gag reflex with them.
So does that mean the chocolate banana is a sign of not being locked in? Is that it locked out?
I don't know. The chocolate dip might be an attempt to lock in, but it doesn't. It will not make me lock in. Unless I thought it was like I don't know, what would be chocolate dipped in that shape that would be somewhat enticing? Like a marshmallow or something? I don't know.
We do have the alien on the scooter, though, so he's definitely arriving right on time in the corner there.
Yeah, he's probably arriving late, geeked out.
So this is geeked out and locked in. So you just have to understand.
Yeah, thanks, Jason.
Yeah, Jay, you got to chew them, Pagey.
Yeah,
right.
Sorry, my bad. I mean, going one take and then.
Yeah, yours truly says Pagey's not locked in with that take on bananas. There we go. Well, Fetman actually says Pagey loves chocolate banana, so he's.
Well, I do like artificial banana. I do like they have like banana like lollies here, and I like them for the most part. They're a bit weird, but I'll eat them. I don't know what it is.
Banana dipped in chocolate is the definition of locked in. So here we go.
Is that another one of those AI Brad Pitt? What's he got on his face?
Yeah, it was. I don't know if that was on his face though, but yes, it was another AI Brad Pitt. All right, where are we going to go from here? Oh, here we got this Ironheart. More Ironheart updates. It's going to debut with 2 episodes on June 24th, so we're going to get 2 episodes of Ironheart. Are we... I want to revisit this conversation. Are we concerned about this show since it is such an old... It's like a relic of what the MCU was.
It's the last of its kind, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm nervous because I don't know if we've heard about things being edited or things kind of being messed around, but with there being such a big break, like this show has been done for, what is that now, almost 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Why did it take this long to get out? Like, I don't know if you agree or not, but like this season of What If was so clearly supposed to come out after Ironheart.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's...
because they wanted us to know these characters. That's the thing, is like the villain, spoiler alert, the villain and in the Shang-Chi episode was from Ironheart. So like that whole thing was supposed to be after this show was released. So it is very telling that it took so long to get here. I will say, though, after we saw that most recent trailer, it looks good. I think the visual effects look really good. But I am concerned about things like pacing, length of episodes, some of the filler that's probably going to have in it, because these are usually done like movies. So...
And also, it comes out. It's the next live action show, I think, after Daredevil.
Yes.
So I feel like if it's bad, it's going to really stand out. It's like, oh yeah, okay. Like again, Daredevil could be bad. We don't know yet, but I have a feeling like if it's good, it's gonna stand out.
Happy birthday to Daddy Hates the Metal. Thor hammer bracelet. That sounds pretty cool, actually.
How does that work?
It's a
Hitting
bracelet
metal?
with a Thor hammer.
Is it like just a bracelet that has a hammer, or is it like a wraparound sort of thing where it looks like the hammer?
That's a good question. I don't know. I've never seen it. So
like a really long handle or something.
They haven't confirmed if it's going to be a 2-episode premiere of Ironheart yet. I know, that's why. Okay, let me reiterate the title of this section of the stream. It's called Twitter Shit, because it's not always confirmed stuff. I stay away from these things primarily now because I get a lot of people who don't seem to like that I talk about it and debunk that stuff. But I'm talking about this because it could, which is why I said, how would you guys feel about it? How do you feel about the show? So thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it. Yeah, he knows. I know you know. I'm glad you chimed in, though. Keep on debunking in the chat. The source is, trust me, bro, I know somebody.
The source is Coffee Doritos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say.
Yeah.
So far, it seems like the shows that have had 2-episode premieres have been animated shows and 8 or more episodes. So, Agatha had a 2-episode premiere, but they had 9. WandaVision had 2-episode premiere, they had whatever. And this is only a 6-episode show. So if they drop the first 2 at once, that would only be 4 weeks after that premiere.
Right.
So if I was a betting man, I would say they would just do weekly. I would say they would just do 6 weeks straight.
They'll drop it so it ends before Fantastic Four comes out in theaters.
True.
Oh, that's true.
By the way, I'm not going to show it here, but I have seen the leaked Fantastic Four trailer. Have you seen that, Darren?
Yeah, but is that the same one that was like Comic-Con? I saw something.
It's the old one. It's not a new one. It's
yeah. Okay, I saw something autoplay on Twitter yesterday.
Okay, so there's a really bad AI one that we watched that's clearly fake. That one is not the one I'm talking about. The one I'm talking about is the one that was filmed that kept getting removed from like last year. They've been re-uploading it, and I finally got to see the shots in it and everything. But we're not going to watch it here because it will 100% get the stream taken down. I'm not talking about like just removing that. They'll DMCA the whole stream. So
what's the date for Fantastic Four?
The end of
July 24th. July 24th.
Okay, that's interesting then. So if this goes 6 weeks straight, it would end July 22nd. So it could end just in time. If they do it 5 weeks, it would end July 15th. So either or, I guess. I'm
also a little bit concerned because there doesn't seem to be, and I know Daredevil's the next show, there doesn't seem to be a lot of fanfare coming from Marvel's side over this series, considering how long it's been in development. I'm hoping that they do a little bit more promotion for it after Daredevil ends or close to the end of Daredevil's run.
I think Ironheart's in a really tough spot because it's just way too long after Black Panther 2. She's a character. I personally really enjoyed her character, but she did not have the level of hype and interest from that movie to carry what is almost now 3 to 4 years after that movie has come out.
Yeah.
And like I am a little concerned because like I think you can market the show all you want. I don't know if it's going to get the interest as someone like Loki or, you know, Wanda or Captain America or, you know, all these other shows that we got. Because she's just like, she's basically, you know, not a popular character. She's not well known within this universe.
Right.
It's going to be hard to like sell people like, oh yeah, I'm going to check the show out.
So my theory on pretty much all of this is anything that Marvel feels like has underperformed for them up until Secret Wars, unfortunately, will probably get rolled out of the MCU. So we may see the last time we see some of these characters will be during those 2 movies. And we'll get introduced to a bunch of new characters that will come in and replace the ones that didn't perform well, most likely.
I mean, there's also the question is, like, do the Young Avengers have any play in Avengers 5 and 6? If so, that's where this fits in. I think this will be set up for that team. I
think that's a fair assessment, Anthony, is that it would get similar viewership as Ms. Marvel. I think that's a fair statement. I mean, the issue is that, like Darren was saying, I believe this character would have been more recognizable if the show would have came out within 6 months to 12 months at the end of Wakanda Forever.
Right.
But it's been years since that movie came out. So it's rough.
And I mean, at least Miss Marvel, I would argue, is a more like recognizable name within the Marvel world. Where Ironheart, I feel like you kind of have to be really into Marvel to be like, oh yeah, that's Ironheart. Where like Miss Marvel, like, you know, she's been in some of the cartoons, she was in the Avengers games, she's had some of that stuff. I think it's more on par with like Moon Knight in terms of like attraction, but like Moon Knight, I feel like you had Oscar Isaac, you had you know, this very unique concept. Like we had some things where you kind of jump into that even if you weren't into Marvel. Where Ironheart, just based on like a surface level, again, I'm excited for it, does not have. Like I don't know if it's going to have that hook.
I would also go as far to say that if Ironheart had not been in post-production by the time they changed all their plans, the show would not be coming out.
100%.
Like this show feels like, because to be honest with the whole Daredevil thing, I like that direction of Marvel. I like them going back to showrunners, going back to, you know, standard length episodes. I like them going back to weekly releases that make sense. The pacing will make sense. And Ironheart could have been bundled into that if it had been released when they were doing that, but it wasn't. So like we were saying, this is a relic. And I feel like if this show were to be made right now, it's going to be a lot different than what we actually get from this show when it comes out.
I wonder if they regret not just like morphing this into the Armored Wars movie with Rhodey. Yeah. Like, I wonder if they could rewind time. They would, make that movie, have her be the like co-lead alongside Rhodey, and then make a bunch of money at the box.
That actually probably would have, to be honest, I think this character needed that. I think this character needed something more than just Wakanda Forever.
Right.
Because that movie had a lot of weight on it because of Chadwick Boseman, and I don't think people were really too concerned with seeing another character getting introduced, unfortunately. But I think that Ironheart as a character would have benefited from being paired up with someone like Rhodey, or the government, working with the government, and Rhodey is working with Ironheart and the government. You know what I mean? That would have made more sense to me. But
except for the fact that Rhodey wasn't Rhodey.
Yes, well, that's because we had that horrible secret invasion. But I'm saying, like, if things were different and they would have gone a different direction, because I'll be honest, I would not mind if they just removed Secret Invasion completely and pretended like that show never ever happened, just like with the Inhumans. I'd be totally okay with that.
That's my daily routine.
All right, here we go. We got some reportedly news here, and I actually I'm not going to say I think this might be true, but it's also a safe guess.
Yeah.
Like, because we looked at the timeline, we've kept up with this. We actually mentioned Shang-Chi last stream. I was like, that movie should have been done already, meaning that I know they were looking to going forward with it. I think the reason why this is going to begin filming in 2026 is by then they will have a clear path for the next phase of movies because of Doomsday and Secret Wars. They know what's going to happen because the scripts will be done. The order will be made. They'll know where they're going to take these characters. So I believe that this is a clear sign that these two characters at least in some capacity, will return after those movies.
So you think these would be post like Avengers? You think this would be like Phase 7?
Maybe not Doctor Strange, but I think Shang-Chi definitely.
Yeah.
I think they could do a Doctor Strange in between the films that would make sense because, spoiler alert, he's a big part of the story with Battle World. So they could definitely do something with him in that universe as a third film that makes sense. But Shang-Chi, I think, in order for that to make the most sense, it would have to come out before those movies,
right?
Which would be a very quick like turnover rate for a movie if they filmed it in 2026. Yeah. It would have to come out before those movies or in between those movies, and I don't think they want to do a Shang-Chi Battle World movie. I mean, maybe they do. I don't know, but I feel like it would come out on the back end. It might even be the first movie to come out after Secret Wars. So.
Yeah, like when I first saw this, I was thinking like, oh, these are clearly going to be the like 2026 movies that haven't been announced yet, right? Because we have those dates that we had saw. But I am thinking maybe if they're not announced soon, if nothing's announced soon, I think we have to go in with the assumption that Spider-Man and Avengers is it for 2026, which I don't think is an issue. I don't think is a problem. But like they don't
both of those movies are going to be multi-billion-dollar movies for Marvel, yes. So I think they're okay with that.
Right. No. Actually, I think that's probably better not to overload yourself that year, so you can kind of leave the hype for those two. Because again, you're 100% right. Those are $1 billion, maybe even $2 billion movies each. And then also because there's something after. Oh no, that's 2027 is what's after Doomsday or after Secret Wars, right? So okay, yeah.
Lone Wolf with a $2 super chat says, if any Young Avengers good reception, it's Kate. I would say there's good reception, but there was also a lot of criticism because of Clint not being the main character in the Hawkeye series, which always felt kind of weird to me.
I think Kamala was more like the most popular, I'd say. Like I feel like she had the most outside of like the power change thing. I feel like people love her.
And I know we keep calling it Young Avengers, but I really believe they're going to change the title to either Champions or something else. I don't know. Only because Young Avengers they're all going to be like 20.
It's going to be surely gets changed to be called New Avengers or something like that, or West Coast event, like something. No way they hold Young Avengers when, like how old is Haley Steinfeld? Like she's
27, 25.
Yeah, she's yeah. And again they haven't even started working on the project yet.
I don't even think they properly titled it yet. So Young Avengers is just a rumor.
No,
but that's clearly what they're building up.
They're building up to a Younger Avengers. But here's the thing. So I think with the mutants coming around and the Avengers movie still being a big thing, they want something with the word Avengers in it. So like Paige was saying, New Avengers or something along those lines. I think Champions is fine, but Champions doesn't have the brand power that Avengers does.
Well, that's why I'm still surprised that, like, and I'm still wondering. A lot of people think it's going to be a marketing ploy and it's going to be some. I don't know how it would work. Like, would it be the first case of a movie doing it? But that's like if Thunderbolts changes its name to Dark Avengers literally the day it comes out.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that would be ballsy, and I'd actually give Marvel and Disney kudos for it because it'd be very weird to build up your entire movie with something called Thunderbolts, not use that Avengers branding at all, and then change the name of your movie to that. Yeah. And that's actually what it is. Because that's clearly what the movie is. It's the Dark Avengers.
Yeah.
But they're calling it Thunderbolts.
I actually think Dark Avengers is a better name overall. I think it's got more brand power. And it's like Thunderbolts makes sense from the comic book standpoint. And I think comic fans will get that with the movie title, but casual fans have no fucking clue what that is. And they're still running with Thunderbolts now. I think if they want to change that title to something else, they need to do it like immediately. Like they need to do it right away because it seems like right now Thunderbolts is the title they're sticking with.
Do you think they're going to surprise the fans and change it in theater? Because of the
if they did some crazy shit like that, you mean like with Agatha where they played with the title for like a year before they.
But even then, like you still knew that it was called Agatha all along. Like what, 6 months, 7 months until the show came out or something.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to think of like an example. I don't think there is. No, out of like unless it's like changed like for a certain country.
But that could do huge for them. if like they did such a massive like marketing thing, being like, okay, we have to see this movie, we have to see how they changed it last minute, and I guess it's more like a TikTok thing, but
yeah.
What about it? Okay, if they do it, it'd be fucking crazy, and we could find out in a month. What about if in Captain America: Brave New World something happens? Where then that's the reason, and then as soon as that movie comes out, then that movie gets changed to Dark Avengers based off something that happens.
Oh, you mean like maybe something that happens at the end of the movie, or maybe
Captain America, and then they go, "There's some Thunderbolts." We're putting that together.
Would be brilliant marketing. That would be absolutely brilliant marketing.
And then they have what, like 3 months? 3 months roughly. Yeah. When does Thunderbolts come out? Or quote unquote Thunderbolts. May. So they have almost entire 3 months to then promote it as Dark Avengers, and really that's your crunch period for promotion, your final 3 months.
I know we talked about it already, but right now, unless they're way off, and they have been a couple of times, but unless they're way off, it looks like Brave New World is looking to have a really solid opening weekend, even if it falls off. Like, it looks like people are interested in the movie, and I think a lot of that has to do, honestly, with Harrison Ford as Red Hulk. I think that's big.
And just Hulk in general.
I kind of like thinking like Thunderbolts, like when you go and watch it, as soon as the title comes on, it glitches and it turns into Dark Avengers.
But that could still happen though, 3Dub. If what Paige is saying is true, that could still be how Thunderbolts starts out. Like you go and see the movie and the Thunderbolts turns to Dark Avengers. I think the name Avengers, and when it comes to like Marvel movies and projects or whatever, has so much brand power. It puts so much money into something that it would just be stupid to not use it when you can. And you know, that's how I feel about it.
Here's the thing though, that I also think they have to be careful about oversaturation, because Avengers is a like billion-dollar franchise, right? And I feel like if you put Avengers in front of every title, over time that title becomes less special, right? When you have Young Avengers, Dark Avengers, Avengers, you know, all these kind of things. I kind of like the idea of Avengers being something that you only get every 4 to 5 years as this big special event, which is why I kind of don't hate the idea of you changing it to Champions. I don't hate the idea of it being Thunderbolts, and then like those special end of saga, huge, massive events are the Avengers and stuff like that.
With Captain America, that didn't happen. Like, it wasn't a $1 billion movie. It was money making movie.
Which one?
Captain America won the first Avenger.
Oh, well, that was before the
the Avengers had a $1 billion movie, but
but the Avengers movie is what set that standard for the Avengers brand.
They didn't know what that was yet. They didn't know like what an Avenger was yet.
I think the big thing is that it's just, if you're gonna put the Avenger thing on, it has to be a good movie. So I think that's the biggest thing. I think that's probably the biggest issue facing.
I have faith that Thunderbolts is going to be good. I have a feeling that movie is going to be good, just based on what we've seen so far. Again, I'm more interested in that than I am Captain America. I think Captain America is going to be good, but I'm more interested in Thunderbolts.
But of course, Ironheart's your number one spot.
Oh, totally. It's actually higher than number one, whatever that is.
It's beyond the clouds.
Okay, yeah, Darren, do you want to say something?
No, I mean, just to kind of go back to your Captain America thing. Like, I was really thinking about it this last week, and I was like, will this movie do well financially? And it did kind of hit me that like Sam is low key like an original Avenger still. Like, he is part of the Phase 2, the Phase 3. He's one of the rare MCU characters right now that are very active, along with Bucky. That's been around for a long time and
since almost the beginning, pretty much.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe that's what people have been kind of craving. That's why Thor did so well, because it's like, oh yeah, he's one of the Avengers that are still kind of left. And I feel like that might have bigger power than we thought. I feel like that character might have more of a connection with modern audience.
Even if they still think of him as Falcon, they still associate him with the Avengers brand. So yeah. Right. Same thing with Thunderbolts. They're using Bucky in a lot of the advertising because they know that he's popular. Yeah. So yeah. All right, we have one more Marvel thing. I think one more Marvel thing to talk about before Daredevil. Yeah. So this is a rumor. Look, I'm so tired of these rumors because let me just preface this before I click on it, because I know the chat is going to be like, oh, this is not real. It's not real. Look, it's probably not real, but that doesn't matter. A lot of times these outlets say these things and they gain traction, and then it becomes reality for social media. There's like social media reality, and then there's reality, right? And This is one where there's nothing attached to this whatsoever. I tried to find it. I couldn't find anything about this, but here it goes. So Wonder Man will have a similar tone to She-Hulk Attorney at Law. The current runtime of each episode is between 35 and 40 minutes. Now, the issue I have with this, I liked She-Hulk. Wasn't a perfect show. I did like it. But these outlets like this, Marvel Updates, which has been banned several times already on different platforms, is that when you say something that you know has a negative social media reaction and you put it out there, you're not helping the show. You are actively hurting the show, which tells me the people that run this account don't actually like Marvel. They're doing this because they're specifically trying to hurt Marvel, because I've not been able to find this quote anywhere with any substantial like support behind it whatsoever.
I mean, it's probably one of the only other comedies like in the MCU. Like, I think that's going to be like, I think that's where they're basing it off of. It's like She-Hulk's a comedy. This is a comedy. They're going to have similar tones, which might not be true whatsoever.
Right.
Do we know if this was part of the like new haul in terms of like having a showrunner and stuff?
I think, okay. So, and I'm not sure if he's still in the chat. Anthony Beltry might know, or even Cody might know. I think this was one of the ones where they had to actually rework the show.
Mm-hmm. I just remember this was filming
right before the strikes, right?
Like it hadn't finished before the strikes. They got halted.
I think they did a little bit of reworking on the show because of the changes to the.
Yeah, like I think from my memory, it was like in development before the changes, but they were still filming and stuff like that.
Right.
So we'll see how much they were able to kind of fix and stuff like that. I definitely have a concern with how it's formulated, because my problem with She-Hulk, I personally like She-Hulk. I think it's a good show for most of it. I think it's the ending that ruins it. It's the like the
last episode in particular is like
yes, because it's like they had this freak out of like, oh no, we need this long narrative that we have to tell at the end of the season. It's like, no, you're a comedy. You can formulate it like a comedy, like a 30-minute comedy. I think that would have worked better for the show, and I hope they lean into that here. This show looks funny. Yeah. It looks like a kind of like sitcom-y. Lean into.
So we were right. This is the last thing I remember. Is it's a 9-episode show, but we have no clue what the tone or the runtime. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. So that's why I'm like, yeah. Look, Wonder Man is associated with West Coast Avengers, so they could take the quote unquote young Avengers and roll them into the West Coast Avengers with Wonder Man.
Right.
They could do that 100%. And it would make sense in the MCU. But we don't know what the landscape is going to look like post-Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
We have no clue what that is going to look like. So all of this could change. These could all end up being like shows where the world changes and we never find out anything else about these characters.
So what is the tone of the West Avengers?
They're a much like more comedic type. I don't want to say comedic because I think that's the wrong word. They're a more fun version of the Avengers. The characters are a little
Isn't that
Squirrel
like,
Girl?
Yeah.
I think she's been a member of all of the Avengers at one point or another. There's also the Great Lake Avengers, which is a silly like joke team. But the reason why I think West Coast Avengers might be a thing is because the White Vision was a part of that whole team when they were their most popular. Wonder Man, obviously, Hawkeye. There was a lot of these characters that were part of the West Coast Avengers over the years. And so actually, you know what? Let me see what the actual lineup of the original West Coast Avengers, because I know it's a lot of I think Mockingbird was there at one time.
Ooh.
Yeah, so these are some of the characters that were in West Coast Avengers, and one of the names here seems like they could actually do that. So we have Hawkeye, Wonder Man, Mockingbird, Vision, Hank Pym, which we know they're probably not going to use him, Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, Wasp, Tigra, War Machine, America Chavez, Captain America at one point, Darkhawk, Quicksilver, Firebird, Gwenpool, Kid Omega, Living Lightning, Spider-Woman, Moon Knight was a West Coast Avenger. Kate Bishop was a West Coast Avenger.
Yeah.
Human Torch, Fuse, Machine Man. So I wouldn't be surprised if they take and roll in the young Avengers into the West Coast Avengers.
And West Coast isn't like age set.
Well, it wouldn't matter because the young Avengers are all going to be in their 20s by time.
Well, I mean, young Avengers is pretty much age set. You have to have young Avengers.
No,
well,
no,
my
you're right.
big question, Eric, is there like a Civil War thing with the West Coast Avengers, like a Bloods vs Crips type thing, or does that ever happen?
No, that never happens. But I'm
yeah.
sure they could write that in for you if you.
I was going to say, what are the comic writers doing? You could easily do that. That'd be pretty. I think that'd sell pretty well.
Not that last part, obviously, but like actually think on Avenger versus.
I mean, obviously.
I feel like if you had two separate movies with different teams of Avengers and then having them like come together, like face each other, would actually be really sick if they wanted to go that direction. Yeah. Do you guys think this will get moved? Because this is currently set for December, so they could easily have this be like January or February if they run out of time or whatever.
I don't know. I'm not totally sure. I think the end of the year is kind of a dead space for Marvel. Because I don't think there's a lot coming out at the end of the year, to be honest.
They got something like every month this year. Like there's
yeah, but I mean, like, isn't it like animated though? I think it's animated, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
it's Marvel Zombies. I think comes out in October.
Yeah, that's October, and then November. What's November? There's something in November.
We actually looked at this like 2 weeks ago, and I can't believe we're forgetting this.
What's January?
Actually, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man should be starting. It's right around the corner. So
yeah, January 29th.
Yeah.
Did you see the schedule for that show?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, they dropped their like episode things, like when each episode is coming out. It has a very weird schedule. Yeah. Right, let me send it.
Yeah, send it to me.
It's like, I think it's way like I don't know, like it's such a weird schedule. Like I don't know why they're doing it like this. I guess maybe I know, but let me bring it up.
They dropped on the World Wide Web.
Too funny. Let's see. I got this here. Nope. Marvel Zombies is the last thing before Wonderman.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because they have Eyes of Wakanda in August, which is that 4-episode series. So once Fantastic Four is done for the year, the next two things are animated, and then Wonder Man is the only live action thing left in 2025. So
I sent you that link, by the way, in
the
okay chat.
Cool. Yeah. Naruto here with the $2 super chat says, "Looking forward to Thunderbolts." I am too. I think it's gonna be pretty good, in my opinion. All right, so let's pull this out here.
Wow, 3 episodes.
All right, so this is interesting. So January 29th, we get episodes 1 and 2. February 5th, we get 3, 4, and 5. February 12th, we get 6, 7, and 8. And February 19th is 9 and 10.
That's like we want it out and we want it out now.
Yeah, it seems like they're just kind of like trying to get it out there. Which I'll be honest,
it all at once.
They could have. To me, that kind of like gets away from my like most anticipated thing for it is because like I was mainly excited because we were gonna get like 9 weeks straight of Spider-Man. I thought like that'll be fun to talk about for 9 weeks straight.
Do you think they're doing this because they don't want it to overlap with Captain America?
Probably.
Well, it already is.
By a week, but I mean,
it's still overlapping, whether it's a week or 2 weeks or right in the middle. But it might just be like maybe these serve as like. I mean, do we know how long the episodes are?
Probably 20, I would imagine.
I was going to say, like, probably Creature Commandos length, which is why at least we're getting 2 episodes, at a time. 3
James Gunn take notes.
Yeah. So my thing is, I like the idea of, like, 2 episodes. 3 episodes seems like a lot in one sitting. Like,
that's an hour, I guess. Yeah. So it's not, I guess it's not.
Well, I mean, like, those episodes specifically, that might be one of those episodes might be a 16-minute episode. They might fuck around with that.
So looking at this, my theory is they might actually be little stories that are bundled together. Maybe like 3, 4, and 5 is like one villain arc, and 6, 7, and 8 is another villain arc. So they're
like Hansel and Gretel or something.
Yeah, they're like bundling them together. So thank you for the super chat, Naruto.
I mean, I do kind of like that because I hate being on a cliffhanger when the climax of the battle is just getting heated.
So we got an hour.
I think they call that.
We got an hour left on the tip jar here for the fan film reaction stream. You guys said you really loved it. Keep in mind they have to be teal or higher for tonight's stream because I did a smaller amount. So teal or higher fan film reactions. If we don't hit it, I'll do it again on Monday because we have a big stream coming up on Saturday. So all right, let's switch gears here. It's time to talk about. Close that window.
Ooh, I don't like that white spider costume.
What?
Oh, the spider costume on the corner.
Yeah. It's the Future Foundation. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna put this up and then we'll do the Daredevil trailer. So this is what I saw. It is Strange Academy has been greenlit at Marvel Studios. What do we think about this?
What's funny is they didn't actually tag him.
Oh, they never do.
He probably untagged himself. Maybe can't you untag yourself?
Oh, Daniel RPK.
Maybe he's blocked or something. Maybe he blocked them or something.
I feel like one person runs these whatever update accounts. Like they just run all of them. Doctor Strange updates, Wanda updates, all them. I would not. So based on what we know and the whole Strange Academy concept and everything, I think it would work for like a TV series.
Yeah.
But are you telling me that they're going to have Benedict Cumberbatch on a TV show for like 6 episodes? I just don't know if I see that as Doctor Strange. I don't know if I see that. I feel like Wong,
very strange.
I feel like Wong would be the one running the school.
It would be Wong, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be Wong, and they'll have Doctor Strange in either the first episode or the last episode, one of the two.
Right.
Probably the first, probably just to generate viewership.
I mean, I actually think Wong is probably one of the better characters to actually give their own TV show. Like, I think he fit very well into that format. This has also been a rumor for 5 years. This has been like every couple months. It's like, oh, we're doing it.
But it says greenlit, Darren. It says greenlit. So
well, that was the big thing, Eric. Is that you were sort of, I don't know if it was specifically like this, but I remember you were sort of giving like a pitch for like a school-based thing, but you were going to call it something Wong. And
right.
So obviously they've gone down a different.
That was definitely me.
You
know what I love about this tweet before we move into the fun stuff with the Daredevil stuff is look at officially. It's in quotes. You see that? So how is that in quotes? Officially is either officially or not officially. There's no quotes.
You know those air quotes? I think
you can use that for a lot of things, but officially I don't think so. So Fetman, the only reason I say that would he do a TV show is Doctor Strange is one of the few sort of holdover characters from like the earlier era of MCU that brings in big money in theaters. Yeah. So I don't know if they want to use him in a TV.
Hold on. What's the first reply to this tweet?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, better be starring Wong and give my boy a show.
Yeah.
For someone who's not very, like, I don't know much about, like, Doctor Strange comics, what's the plot of the comic? The, like, Strange Academy comic?
It's like a school for magic, basically. Yeah.
Gotcha. So Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but done, like, in the Marvel style. So, but, yeah, they could still have Wong do it. I mean, but calling it Strange Academy and having Wong as the lead character, I don't know. Yeah. Right. We'll see. All right, so let us move over and talk about this. Let me just do this here. So I just want everybody to know that most likely this is going to get pulled out of the stream. So as usual, we will do one watch through with very minimal interruption. And then we'll look at some of the photos and things that they have. I might scroll through the video, whatever.
Have you seen it yet?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. This is my first time seeing the whole thing all the way through. So I'm really excited. I've seen people talking very positively about it. Let me pause the music. I've seen people talking very positively about it, so I am curious if it is as brutal as people say it is, because that's what I'm looking for from Daredevil. I want street level, brutal, vigilante justice from Daredevil.
I thought you wanted sex, violence, and gooning. I thought that's what you wanted.
That's on the other side of that coin.
Oh, that's on the fan fiction side. My bad.
Yeah. All right.
You know what, Paige? You're not far off.
So
what?
Anyway,
You're really not far off, Paige.
All right, let's see. Make sure the volume's up. Yes. All right.
Thank you for finding the time.
Oh,
I will admit, it's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again.
Oh.
A lot of time has passed. By the look of it, you've come up in the world.
They're all back together.
I could say the same about you.
A mayor serves his city.
Rogers the musical.
I can see you're not entirely convinced.
Can you blame me? I can't shake the feeling that you're gaming the system.
Why did you stop being a vigilante?
The line was crossed.
Oh,
The D in the helmet.
It's hard to come to terms with a violent nature.
oh, was that Punisher?
The power
I
it has
think.
over us.
The city
Oh,
can't go
bullseye.
unchecked.
Oh my God, this looks so good.
Sometimes peace needs to be broken. And chaos must reign.
Oh, there is Punisher.
Yeah.
Am I putting the hatchet down?
Love the
I was
hatchet.
raised to believe in grace.
White Tiger.
But I was also
Oh my
raised
God.
to believe in retribution.
All the different helmets. I saw that picture earlier. Was that White Tiger? That looked like White Tiger. Oh no, it's just a thought. Oh! Wow.
Got everything you wanted, DJ Eric.
Holy shit.
I
Holy
will say,
shit.
like, I really like all the helmets because that was the one thing I wanted. Like, basically, I wanted everything to tie into his appearance from the MCU, which the gold helmet, She-Hulk.
Yeah. Rogers the musical. Well, I mean, they did confirm though that is canon now because of the helmet, so we know that that's still a thing.
Yeah.
I have to say, coming in to 2025, I know we're getting the Spider-Man cartoon. Of course, we're all excited about that. But I think this is clearly the big thing that Marvel fans are waiting for. Like at the beginning of the year. Like this is the one where, the Captain America movie is going to do whatever it's going to do. But I think in terms of like OG fans, people that have been around since the beginning, this is definitely what they needed.
He looks like he has a helmet for each part of the week. Like Monday, let's go with the gold.
God, such a good trailer.
I actually think this might be the most important MCU project to get right. Because if they ruin Daredevil, that's going to lose a lot of reputation for them. It will be very bad because you could be like, no, I'm done watching the MCU because they ruined like one of the best things that they've ever made is Daredevil. That is their Breaking Bad. That is their like magnum opus. It always goes down in one of the greatest shows of all time lists. Like that's why it's so crazy to me that they almost put out the show they almost put out because it's like how
like a procedural half-hour like courtroom drama with Daredevil who's retired.
Like it's crazy that like they looked at them and was like, yeah, that's what people want. That's the show that they've been waiting for.
Paigey, what did you think of the trailer?
I mean, I like the overall like setup for it and stuff like that. I'm just interested to see how because you had such a break from it, you're not getting a consistent flow of the show, but then you're jumping back into it. I am still worried about the Disney Plus style of it all.
Sure.
And also, it doesn't look like the Netflix show, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I think it actually looks better, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think obviously you have to wait till the actual episodes start and everything, but I'm excited to get back into it. And I wonder if they sort of wish that the Hawkeye and Echo stuff hadn't happened with Kingpin, like the cybernetic eye and everything like that. I sort of wonder if they wish that hadn't happened leading into this. I'll be tuning.
I mean, this show will 100% be something that we talk about for streams. I will definitely lock this in for. We will bring back the quote unquote after party style for this, like the day after it comes out. Only because I think this is one of those shows where we can actually watch it, theorize, talk. Because one of the big things about shows that has kind of bummed me out and why I got tired of doing the rant and review style stuff is there wasn't a lot of theory crafting. There wasn't stuff to talk about. like the shows were all surface level. I feel like seeing this trailer makes me think we're going to get something like an Arrow or a Flash or something where each week we're going to see something interesting and we're going to have characters that are doing interesting things that I want to talk about. And I mean, it looks like everybody is bringing their A game in this trailer. I didn't see anything that looked bad to me. Matter of fact, we're getting multiple villains. We're getting, we're getting Muse. We're getting Kingpin, who's going to be pulling the strings. We're getting a version of White Tiger, the old school version of White Tiger. So, and I mean, that's what we know of so far. We're probably still going to have like some sort of thugs or crime going on in the city. There's a line that's crossed, which caused him to retire for several years. I'm very curious about what that is. I'm not.
I hope the pacing of him being retired because he crossed the line is like reasonably like length,
Sometimes.
but also fast enough to where it feels like we're going to get a lot of action in episode 2.
I think that the retirement thing is going to be what happened in between the Netflix show and this show.
Flashback.
She-Hulk, yeah.
Well, yeah. I don't know if it's going to be a flat. We will get a flashback to what happened, but I think what we're going to see in the show is that this is going to be the follow up to him retiring, being a vigilante, and it's going to be very short lived. I think we'll jump right back into the action. I would assume that the beginning of that first episode is going to cover possibly what happened. We're just not going to get the whole story. I think we're going to jump in with a bang. I think it's going to be a fight scene at the very beginning of the episode, most likely.
Yeah, I think
getting mauled by people.
I think Born Again is the perfect title for the show. Like, I could not pick a better title, because it's not only obviously Born Again, it's a show that has coming back after so many years off the air. It's kind of joining this universe that it's always kind of wanted to be in. There's also in universe. He is being born again. Daredevil was gone. He was away, which makes a lot of sense why we haven't seen him around the MCU, and he's getting born again. He's kind of coming back into the limelight. The world needs that character again, and he's being born again. And I think that's such a good way to do it, because obviously, like, I'm wondering how they're going to do it. Like, yes, we're hearing it's going to be basically a season 4, but also that's a good way to introduce this character to a new audience, to introduce him, like, to introduce this new... Because let's be honest, this is going to be a lot of people's first time getting introduced to this character. There's not going to be everyone wanting to watch 43 episodes of the original show to watch this. So
I've already decided. I've mapped out my rewatch. I'm starting my rewatch next week of all of them. Like, I'm going to watch this. I'm going to watch Daredevil seasons 1, 2, 3 with the Defender series and Punisher to get ready for this, just so I have everything.
In season 3, like, I kind of didn't like the fact that they went back to the black suit. I get why, but
yeah, they did it because they wanted Bullseye to be Daredevil to frame him. Yeah, I get it.
But at the same time, that was like a rebirth storyline, because he did die technically. I think, like, he was like almost on near-death experience, and he got born again.
Yeah. So we got a couple super chats here. Lone Wolf, $5 super chat. Says, how much do you know about the villain Muse? If you're not familiar with this comic, he's the type of villain who uses his victim blood as a form of art. So I've read a couple of stories with Muse. As far as I know, last time I looked, nobody knows what his secret identity is. I don't know if that's changed in the comics now, but I know originally, I don't think it was known who he was. I did see that the actor playing Muse is someone we know, but I can't remember what his name was.
It's from Wednesday. It's
that's
one of the young actors from Wednesday.
Yeah.
Did they get canceled?
No,
it's the other one.
Was not him. Yeah. As far as I know, though, he doesn't have any, like, quote unquote superpowers, but he's enhanced in other ways. Like, he's a genius. He does paint murals in people's blood and stuff like that. So he's a pretty dark character. Looking forward to him, though. Thank you for the super chat. We have another $5 super chat from Ruder. I think Spider-Man freshman year is releasing episodes the way it is because they're afraid to go up against Invincible. Oh. Do you think that's what it is?
I don't think Spider-Man gives a shit about Invincible. I feel like
Spider-Man's also two different things. Like, one's going to be suitable for kids, one's not.
Yeah.
I actually think also that Disney Plus is, I think I looked at the numbers the other day and somebody mentioned it, that Disney Plus is the only other streaming service other than Netflix that is actually turning a profit now. So
Disney Plus.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's not really
Definitely not
concerned with
fucking
the logos.
HBO Max.
Definitely not. No, Disney Plus is actually making more money than it's spending, which is something that a lot of these other streaming services don't do. So,
I mean, they're finally getting like a catalog. Like they finally, like I actually think joining in Hulu is probably one of the best things they could have done because they actually have a catalog they can work with. Like now you have The Bear, and now you have a lot of those type of shows. You know, Percy Jackson I think was very big for them and stuff like that. Like they finally are getting a catalog of original content that people kind of care about.
I know it's sort of off topic, but isn't Percy Jackson coming back soon?
Yeah, this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this year, I actually think this year will be one of the best years for Disney Plus. Like you have Daredevil, you have Andor, you have Phineas and Ferb, you have Percy Jackson. Like there's a genuinely like great catalog of shows coming out that are like at top of my list.
You forgot Ironheart. You forgot
Ironheart.
I mean, just Marvel alone has like what 5 and 6 shows coming out. Like
Eyes of Wakanda and Marvel Zombies as well.
Marvel Zombies, yeah, no, it's a Spider-Man. Like, there's a lot coming out next year, or I guess this year now.
We said that this year was going to be reminiscent of like 2023, where it's just like so much stuff coming out.
Shows this year is insane. Like I've been mapping it out. I have a show on my channel where we talk about like weekly TV shows with
promo your channel.
I know, sorry, but like
no. I'm saying do it like promo your channel.
Me, Taz, and Darth were like talking, like, okay, so this comes out here, and this comes out here, and this comes out here, and we're like, there might be things we have to leave out because like there's too much TV coming out this year.
Well, that's the thing is that the after party will return as long as there's stuff that we're watching to talk about. I will have a stream about.
Well, I know you're incredibly stoked for the Ironheart after parties, Eric. I know you.
Are you going to watch
special setup?
Are you committing to watching it now?
I'm not going to commit to anything. I'll commit to Daredevil, of course. Like, ask me to commit to Ironheart. Is like, I don't know.
I honestly kind of want to see all these suits and like on Charlie Cop.
Yeah, these are really cool. So we have all of these different helmets. Obviously, they're just.
Is that the second one from the? Is that a black one, or is that meant to be like a nod to Ben Affleck's Daredevil?
I think that's the black one.
Second from where?
Second from the
right.
Second from the bottom, Eric. Second from the right.
The red one.
There's the red one. There's the black one. And there's the gold one. He's talking about the black one.
Well, I wasn't too sure if it was black or like a dark red maroon or something like that.
I don't know if it's about the
it's brick red
movie though.
Is that yellow one the same one from She-Hulk? Because that looks
yeah, that's the one from She-Hulk.
Okay.
It looks like it, yeah. Let me double check. I'll look right now while we're sitting here. I will say though that let's see.
The only ones that don't look familiar are the first one, silver one, the second one next to the silver one, the black one, and the last one.
Let me see. I'm trying to get
just one of those days, feeling like a friend.
All right. Open a new image, a new tab. Why is it so large? Oh, there you go.
Maybe the last one is from the series.
I was waiting for a response on that one. No response. I'm ashamed of you guys.
I was going to say, we're looking at
it's the same one. It's just a different lighting, but it's the same helmet.
Okay.
It's just slightly different lighting. What were you going to say, Paigey? What was that?
Look at Bojamayo's Twitter page.
Oh, yeah. That's totally what I did. Also, I wanted to point out that... What are we...
Oh god, you're a funny man.
This is the
Eric.
promo poster which I used as part of the thumbnail. This is amazing. I love the way this looks. So my only issue with the show, and the only thing I saw in the trailer and it's not even something that's going to affect whether I like it or not, is, and I don't want someone to be unhealthy in terms of like getting prepared for a show, but I think Kingpin's physical size is a big part of his character in the comics. I mean, it's really is a part of his storyline, like being this larger than life figure. And I love Vincent D'Onofrio. I think he's going to kill it as always. And I think his Kingpin's going to be great. But visually, I would have preferred a bigger, more like quote unquote thick.
Didn't he wear like a fat suit in the Hawkeye?
I thought so. Yeah, I think he did.
You know what though? I think in universe it could be kind of cool because like he's going to be mayor, right? So he's going to be a very busy man. Also, I think public perception's very important in politics. So like I think it'd be cool in universe. He's like, yeah, I lost weight to like win the election. To like,
well, they did show a side by side picture of him being bigger, and then did you see that? It was like a piece of art in the thing. It showed like him as the large kingpin and then him as like the thin mayor. I think there's going to be, I think you're right. I think there's going to be a in-story reason.
Do you think they will make Ozempic canon in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Like, I'm just wondering. Like,
I mean, they could. They could. Yeah. So Anthony says, I'm sure I'm losing weight. We talked about the show. I agree. I think it will be. But I just say from me, and this is just my personal opinion, I like the Kingpin being a larger than life character because that is sort of like thick with 2 C's, like basically.
Yeah, this is no longer a Kingpin that could take on Spider-Man.
A montage of like Thor working out versus a montage.
I also want to point out this is there you go. I also want to point out that this is probably why he's hiring so many people to go after Daredevil, because maybe he's just not capable of physically doing it anymore.
He lost the power.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I'm currently like rewatching season 1, and like one of the scariest things about that season is like how much power he has and so many resources. And like, now he's mayor. Like he has all the resources. He could own everybody, right? So I feel like maybe you really lean into that aspect of it. He's powerful because of his influence, because of how he inspires the people in his own little way. And Daredevil's been gone, like you know, he no longer has the loyalties of the people. He's been kind of taking charge of his city again. So I like maybe lean into that aspect of it a little bit.
What if Kingpin is actually forcing him to get back into the suit?
Well, I think that's 100% what it's going to be. He's going to do things that's going to force Daredevil to be Daredevil.
Well, yeah, and like that's also the thing that we've heard is like Kingpin's doesn't seem to be like the villain of the season. It seems to be these other things. They're kind of on the same side for once, which obviously is not going to be a good guy, right? They're going to be, you know, facing off, but like maybe we do that for a little while. Like maybe we do that to change the status quo. Because think about it, Kingpin's been the villain of the series twice already, plus in Hawkeye, plus in Echo. I'm actually okay him taking a step back, obviously playing a role in the show, but not being the main villain for a couple seasons. I'm actually really okay with.
So I think with the situation we're going to be dealing with in the show, if I had to sort of just guess what I think the setup is going to be, is the mystery for us is going to be trying to figure out if Kingpin has anything to do with the crime that is going on. I think we're going to get sort of red herrings. We're going to get clues. I don't think it's going to be so obvious. I think that is going to be part of the mystery. I think if anything, we'll deal with the Bullseye stuff in the past. That's probably going to tie into why Daredevil or Matt stopped being Daredevil, is because of what happened with Bullseye. I think that's going to be part of the reason. I think White Tiger is going to be doing stuff, and we're going to be questioning whether or not he's doing it because of Kingpin. And I think Muse is going to be a loose cannon that Daredevil will probably blame Kingpin for, but he has absolutely nothing to do with Kingpin. I don't think Muse is going to work for Kingpin in the show.
So is White Tiger a villain, or is he a good guy?
It's like
because I'm having flashbacks of the Ultimate Spider-Man where White Tiger was a part of the team.
Yeah, that's a different White Tiger, I think. Like I think there's multiple versions of it.
Yeah,
obviously I knew that. Like this one's a male.
right. But I'm saying, like, first of all, I don't think everything's one for one from the comic, so we don't know how his story's going to be. I don't think he's going to be a villain, but I think he might end up being a character that crosses lines that Daredevil doesn't, and that like with Punisher, where he has to go and sort of intervene with what he's doing. Because I think what's going to happen is we're going to have a situation where there's a lot of vigilantes trying to take up. So again, theorizing here, I think White Tiger is going to come in to replace the loss of Daredevil. I think he's going to be the guy running around saving lives and things like that. And he's crossing those lines, and Daredevil has to jump in to stop him from going too far. That's what I think is going to happen. So I don't think he's going to be a villain, but I think he's definitely going to be one of those like characters that doesn't care about, you know, basically murdering bad guys pretty much.
I'm wondering, because like we had heard, and obviously we don't know how much changed from like the rewrite of the show, but we heard Kingpin's whole thing in the show was supposed to be like him trying to go against vigilantes as a whole, right?
Right.
So like he was going to be going after characters like Spider-Man and Hawkeye and Daredevil and stuff like that. So I wonder, like, when does this alliance they're currently going on take place, and how much of other characters like Punisher, White Tiger, Bullseye, stuff like that come into play with this whole thing? And is the reason for that, like White Tiger is being like, no, look at this guy. You know, he's killing people, he's causing a ruckus, you know, we have to put a stop to this. And maybe that's why Daredevil has to come back out of retirement and be like, listen, like they can't do my job for me. Like I got it. Kind of like a like Wild Dog and Arrow thing, where like Arrow had to be like, no, you can't do it like this. Like this isn't how it's done.
Well, Lone Wolf says they work together due to Muse. Yeah, I think the issue is going to be they're going to bump heads, and then they're going to have to like come together. I think it's going to be very similar to the Punisher storyline, but in a way that like revitalizes the show, because obviously Punisher's going to be there too. So
their season 1 would be like, yeah, that's how you do it, Wild Dog.
Dalton says, I was terrified of Kingpin throughout the Echo series. That journey informed the next chapter for his character beautifully. Yeah, I agree. I think the cybernetic eye thing was a little weird, but everything else, I mean, that was pretty comic booky, so I guess that's what it is. But you know, everything else was good.
And like kind of where you end him in that show, like I know a lot of people hated that, but I actually kind of like that, because like you opened his mind up. Like I feel like you kind of broke a dam in his mind, and the way Echo ended. So I'm wondering, like, mentally where he's going to be, if they're going to reference that at all. Because he kind of seemed to lose it at the end of that show. And
I think that might affect his weight loss. He might be going through like some stress or crisis in his life, and that's why he looks the way he looks and does the things he does. So Harrison has a theory here. I think someone kills or mortally injures Foggy, and Matt ends up killing the culprit, and that's why he stopped. Maybe. Could be Bullseye. Could very well be Bullseye. So I guess we'll find out. Hey, what's up, Kenneth? How are you doing? Love the Daredevil Born Again trailer. Yeah. Could be a good lead for Spider-Man's next movie. Prefer that more over Null. Yeah, the Null thing. Let's not even get into the Sony Spider-Verse. Vincent Offer here says, anything on our show is 9 out of 10 times leading to something that's even bigger and crazier. For Fisk, this journey is a path to more control. So it sounds to me like he's not even necessarily concerned specifically about Daredevil. It's more about larger things, like the city as a whole, vigilantes as a whole. Which would make for a very interesting story, because then he would be going after other people like White Tiger or Punisher. Right. So,
and you know, which could kind of lead to the Echo thing that like we were talking about. Like his mind's going to be more open. It's like, no, I've been thinking too close-minded. It can't just be him. There's a larger picture at stake, which could be really cool.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on from this topic, but I want to check in on our goal here. We are 3 out of 5 with 30 minutes left, so 2 more $5 or higher super chats, and we will do another fan film reaction stream. You guys loved it. I'd like to do more of those, so let me know if you'd like that by hitting the goal here. All right, let's go get locked in, as Paigey would say. Get locked in. So this is completely sideways from the topic here, but this is pretty crazy. We're doing this again. Justin Baldoni files a $400 million lawsuit against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds over a smear campaign, including that Daredevil or Deadpool situation with Nice Pool. What is going to happen with this, Paigey? What is your prediction on this one?
Probably get settled out of court, because I don't think they'd want anything going through the courts and it going for an extended amount of time and everyone's names get dragged through the mud. Obviously he's not going to get anywhere close to 400 million if he's going to get money. I have a feeling, I don't know. I mean, because there's also things where like a judge might not even allow it into court if it seems a bit silly. So the fact that I don't know. It's an interesting one. Like it wouldn't surprise me if it gets settled out of court, though.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that
I
was going to say like this lawsuit would happen in Los Angeles or the Californian courts and stuff, and that's just a more tricky thing. There's not necessarily a lot of loopholes. They're very, especially when it comes to like defamation, and that's what his thing is. Like it's really hard to win a defamation
because he has to prove that what they said.
It's really hard to So it's I don't think you see really many, especially like high case defamation things go through Californian courts or Los Angeles courts, just because that just doesn't really go that well.
There's text messages that prove what he's saying is true.
Yeah, but evidence can always spin your way because like you can remove context of stuff that can go against you.
The only reason I'm even bringing this up is because something you mentioned last time we talked about this page is kind of like stuck in my mind. Is this is something that could potentially affect Ryan Reynolds' job in Marvel, because this is not good press for him, and it gets
not only just him, but the fact he could have dragged a Marvel property into it as evidence. Right. Like if that Niceball thing was legitimately, or even if it can just be presented in that way.
What's funny is if he gets dragged through the mud, it's association. He didn't do anything. He's married to Blake Lively. That's all he did.
Yeah, but they're saying that the Nicepool character in the movie was specifically designed to basically make fun of him. That's what he's saying. That they have it, that apparently there is proof somewhere, I guess, in the creation of that character that it was about him. That's what he's saying. And that is what he's trying to like pull into court, to take them to court for. And that's the only reason I'm even talking about this, honestly, is because it does look like, at least from this article, that there's going to be a push forward with this. He is moving forward with this. This could be the dumbest thing somebody's ever done. Especially or the absolute smartest thing, where it's like
he was ready to risk it all because he believed he was right.
Yeah.
And he fails against the evidence to even if it's just to settle out of court, and he gets 50 mil or something like that, even if it's like 50 mil, something like, fuck, you take it.
Yeah. So I saw a comment here from Harrison that says Luke Cage had a billboard ad in the background of the trailer.
Yeah.
So I went kind of looking for it, and it looks like we have it here, which is the Harlem's Paradise ad.
Yeah, like for those who don't know, Harlem's Paradise made the theme song for the Nocturnal Nerdcast. The song you hear at the beginning 100%.
Is. So this to me seems like it might be possibly setting up that Luke Cage is still running the club, and we could still pick up on that storyline at some point. And there's also, I don't know if you guys saw or not, but the fans are trying to get Evil brought back. They want the show to come back even though it's ended or canceled or whatever. They wanted to come back. Look, I know there's a lot of fans of Evil, but I would love if he would just commit to Luke Cage, and that way we could get locked in for another season of Luke Cage, honestly.
I think Luke Cage could be a movie. Like, I think if you put Luke Cage like on the big screen, I think people would show up. Like, obviously market it as kind of its own thing. Like, obviously people aren't going to watch the show, but I think you put him on the big screen, maybe him and Jessica, if you want to go that direction. Like, I could see that doing like well. Same with Punisher. I could see like a Punisher movie as well. And it's like that.
Stagger with a timely, absolutely locked in super chat here for $4.99. Yeah. Could we potentially see characters like Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, or Iron Fist again? I actually think, like, honestly, if you would have asked me this 2 years ago, I'd have been like, no, absolutely not. Maybe even a year ago, I would have said no. But I believe that depending on how well Daredevil does as a season, the fan reception to it, the quality of it, all of that, would determine whether or not we ever see these other characters again. I think Luke Cage is highly possible. I think Jessica Jones is possible. Iron Fist, I think they're moving in a different direction with Iron Fist.
With Iron Fist, I think that if they really wanted Iron Fist, they could do it after Secret Wars, because they could like literally recast him.
Or I mean, it's possible they could use they could bring Danny Rand in for like a Luke Cage thing where he's there with Luke Cage. But the reality is, the way they set up the so the storyline at the end of the second season of Iron Fist, which by the way, I guess I don't care about spoiling it, but they set up two potential storylines. So you have the Daughters of the Dragon storyline with Misty and Colleen, which I would have been super on board with that for season 3. I thought that was really cool because the power transfer, all of that. I think that's neat. I like Colleen Wing as possibly being an Iron Fist. I thought that was really fun as an idea. And you had Danny Rand going out searching to get his powers back by traveling around trying to get the powers of the Iron Fist returned to him. And so you could potentially just forget about Danny Rand. You could just be like, nobody knows where he is. He's missing. We have no idea where he's gone. They could do all those things, but
or they could actually do like basically if they want to change his character development, they could bring him in for Secret Wars and have him like be a completely different character. Like
I think there could be multiple Iron Fists. Like they could have Iron Fists there that are
basically a test audience.
Yeah, they could have multiple versions of Iron Fist if they wanted. But the Danny Rand version that they teased at the end of season 2 basically creates Iron Fist constructs. So like guns and swords and weapons and things like that. Stuff that you wouldn't normally see. I think they want to go back to more of a traditional martial arts style Iron Fist, which is what I think they're doing. Or they even teased it in What If. And I think they did that with the intention of possibly using that version of Iron Fist. But again, like everybody's saying, like you were saying, 3Dub and stuff, they could totally do that with Secret Wars and change it up if they want.
Well, what's interesting, like with that What If thing, is it kind of feels like they're trying to soft reboot Iron Fist to the audience, reintroduce them, because obviously we had the thing in What If, which was like very like teasy, like they want to bring that character back or whatever. But also, we're supposed to be getting a different version of Iron Fist in the Black Panther series we're getting this year, which is canon to the MCU. So it feels like they're exploring kind of the origins of that, kind of franchise and stuff like that. Like if you want to kind of dive into that.
Aside from like Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, the one show that I really want back is Punisher.
Well, I think Punisher is probably higher on the list than any of these other ones.
You're right.
Only because he's showing up in Daredevil for sure, confirmed. And let's be clear here, that would be the most inexpensive show of all of these to make, honestly, would be the Punisher show.
Right.
Like, the budget would be extremely low. So I wouldn't be surprised.
His costume is basically a bulletproof vest with a skull on it.
Well, it's not only that; it's just very little special effects, which would bring the cost.
Yeah, the biggest thing with Punisher is just make sure that it's not arse like season 2, because that'd be
I
really
actually
good.
like season 2.
Oh, there we go.
Any chance we get Punisher and Thunderbolts?
That would be kind of cool, actually.
Be sick. Like obviously not a big role, but like a little cameo.
They'll probably try and
recruit him and have him like drop the F-bomb like Wolverine in First Class.
Maybe. What
is this?
This is very like brain rot. Oh my god. So Paige, you're saying that we are only one super chat away from getting another fan reaction stream, and that people need to get locked in. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know why this isn't playing.
I don't know.
This is geeking out. What's going on? Yeah,
I have no idea. We are one $5 super chat away from getting locked in.
I think that it's locked in Squidward.
I don't know.
To be fair,
yeah,
this looks a bit like Eric.
Does it?
Turn to the side, like do that pose. Anyone else see it? I can see it.
Can you? Oh,
yeah, looks a bit familiar.
Look, yours truly locked in Squidward.
Yeah.
All right, so Paige, I think this is what you sent to me. I pulled it to the side for today. So we were talking about it.
Pulled it to the side.
Yeah, pulled it because it was locked in, so I had to pull it to the side. DCU hype goes. The DCU's Creature Commando had 22 million minutes viewed in the first full week of release. According to Illuminate, this is the third highest for any show on Max ever. The star of the DCU couldn't be any stronger. Is this the one you sent to me?
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your assessment of this when you sent it over?
Well, the issue is that it's not great. Right. It's weird. Like, I think it really highlights that Max isn't doing very well as a streaming service. Because if you break this down, if it was viewed 22 million minutes, so the episode was roughly like, well, it was probably like 23, 24, the opening episodes, but we'll give it some slack. So if you break that down, that's 1 million views. But there was 2 episodes in the opening week. So that means each episode was only viewed 500,000 times. So for only 500,000 people watched it on Max.
Nah. Oh, look, I didn't think it was a bad show. I've seen a lot worse in terms of animated stuff.
Well, now we know why they didn't flaunt the viewership in the first couple of weeks, because it's usually the case. That happens.
Yeah.
But as soon as that came out, I was like, oh, okay, well, something hasn't gone well. And then this came out. I'm like, and it's always a bad sign when they don't use the actual viewership numbers. They don't say, oh, this many people watched it, they break it down into minutes.
Right.
Because 22 million minutes sounds incredibly impressive compared over. Because actually, it wasn't even 500,000. It's probably like, what, just over 4? Maybe like 420, 430,000. Right. Well, they're not Max shows, though, Shortcut. They're HBO shows. So they're not. So once again, it's people be, oh, you've got more views than The Penguin and House of the Dragon than Last of Us. No, it's HBO Max shows. And
right.
Like, what's the contingent there?
Yeah, and that's
like Titans and Doom Patrol in their 3rd and 4th seasons and stuff when people had already dropped off.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what's a Max original? It's a Peacemaker. That's the only one I can think of, but I'm assuming Peacemaker's higher than this because it's the 3rd. So what's the other one? You know, it's not an HBO show. It's just a Max original show.
That's the thing. Max really hasn't had any like shows, like not really these big hits like Peacemaker.
Yeah, they're all HBO shows. Yeah.
Yeah, no, which isn't a huge problem. Like I understand that's where they're putting most of their effort in, but also it's like Peacemaker's probably the biggest, and Peacemaker didn't have like it wasn't this like Stranger Things or like a Wednesday kind of hit for them. It's like it did well, you know. People watched it on TikTok, and
I want to say that I think it's probably the clearest case of trying to confuse viewers because I just looked to look at the Max originals. Even on the list, like if you look it up with Google, are shows that are HBO shows because they get categorized as Max content because they come out on Max right after they come out on HBO. So you have to try and find Max originals, and that's buried. It's absolutely buried in stuff. So I don't think there's a lot of Max originals that even exist on the platform anymore.
I wonder if they're just not going to try and make originals. Like, I wonder if they just are like, well, we make so many big HBO shows, we don't even have to put in the effort, which they're not entirely wrong. Like, you have, Game of Thrones and Harry Potter and DC and, all these things.
Aren't they combining this? Aren't they combining streaming services this year with something else? Or no, they're splitting streaming services. They're splitting Discovery and Max away from each other.
And by the way, Anthony, you split that in 2. You're using the number if you just break that down into a thing. You got to split it in 2 because 2 episodes came out the premiere week, not 1. So if you're 785 is the actual number, it was lower than 400,000 then. That viewed it because that's like what 392.5.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, Max isn't everywhere, right? It's
right.
Like it's not in like the UK and stuff like that.
Well, I think
it's not here in Australia.
Yeah, I was saying Paige has to watch Max stuff on other streaming platforms.
We have Binge, which is like the official partner thing. I was actually wondering why they can't use it because it's weird when they show something here in Australia and it's on Max. It doesn't say Max Original; it says HBO Max Original.
Right.
And I was having a look. There's a company in Australia called Max. And I wonder if it's like a I think it's like a employment services or something like that company, but it's called Max.
But you would think that they would have noticed that and just kept it as HBO Max. Like Max makes no sense. It's a confusing name for the brand. HBO is the brand.
Well, no, to me, I've always said this. The fact it's even HBO Max is stupid. It should be Warner Max, Warner something. Why? Yeah. Warner Brothers is one of the most iconic names. Like it's Disney Plus, Paramount Plus. The only other one that was a bit fucking cooked, but it's only in America anyway. It's never going to stretch anywhere outside. Is Peacock. Like the Peacock, but it's always just going to be very in America. So like the fact that they didn't just go with Warner Max, and let's be honest, if they decide to rebrand the service again, which to be honest, it's probably not far away from it. I mean, they're probably going to have to go with Warner something. I mean, they already took the HBO, which is the most iconic part out of it anyway, and left with Max. God, how stupid is that? But yeah, it's once again, and I think it goes back to that thing you'll talk about before, Eric. This thing that you started the stream off with when you're talking about people either have to 100% be positive or 100% be negative. Because with this, is this awful? No. It's not awful. Awful would be 2 people watched it. That'd be fucking disastrous. 500, just 400,000 people. It's not a great start, but we know, or at least based off what they've said, more people watched it as more episodes came out. So I'm assuming once we hit around maybe episode 5 or 6 for this season, which is right towards the end, hopefully the episode numbers go up a bit. But as I said, you said at the beginning, like people have to say like it's the greatest start. Like the start of the DCU couldn't be any stronger. Yeah, it could have. 1 million people could have watched.
Right.
That would have been much stronger. It would have been on the Nielsen ratings. It wasn't on the Nielsen ratings at all.
We had a super chat here. We have 2 super chats actually. Thank you guys so much. We've hit our goal. Thank you. I do appreciate it. Both South Texas Shark and Stagger of War contributed. Thank you. We're going to do this one quickly, and then we'll look at South Texas Shark. So what does the split of Max and Discovery Plus mean? Well, it's not actually a literal split. They're basically going to be under 2 different divisions. I actually hope that this that we can hear this okay in here. Let me know if the audio works for you guys. But this sort of talks about it here, about what this is. And this came out in December, the end of December of 2024. So here we go.
Shares of Warner Brothers Discovery soared more than 15% on Thursday after the media giant said it would separate its declining cable TV business from its streaming and studio divisions. The move sets up a possible sale or spin-off of the company's lagging legacy networks, which include TNT, Animal Planet, and CNN. Under the new structure, those channels will be housed in a unit called Global Linear Networks. A separate division will merge streaming platforms Max and Discovery Plus, as well as premium channel HBO, with the company's film studios, which include Warner Brothers Pictures and New Line Cinema. Warner Brothers Discovery, which shed 9% of its cable subscribers in the third quarter, is not the only media company exploring options for its TV business. Comcast last month unveiled plans to split most of its NBC Universal cable networks into a new public company, while Comedy Central owner Paramount Global had earlier this year agreed to merge with streaming-era upstart Skydance Media.
That's a good thing.
Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav had engaged in merger talks with Paramount late last year, though a deal never materialized, according to a regulatory filing. Zaslav said recently he believes deal-making will improve under the incoming Trump administration.
There we go, Paige.
Warner Brothers Discovery expects to complete its restructuring plan by mid-2025.
Okay, so let me tell you... Hold on, pause that there. So let me just sort of explain why the Paramount thing is better and why the Warner Brothers Discovery thing is a disaster. So this is the beginning of selling off pieces of the company. And this is not good. Whereas with the Skydance thing over Paramount, this will allow them to make movies again. Because the problem with the movie making situation with like Star Trek movies and stuff like that is that they wanted to put all that stuff on streaming services. This all happened back during COVID. So Skydance coming in will help bolster that movie division. That's what people are hoping to happen. What's happening with Warner Brothers Discovery right now is a yard sale. Like they want to sell off bits and pieces of the companies. So what's going to happen is there's going to be even less content on their streaming platforms. There's already nothing there. It's going to be a ghost town. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I still stand by the fact that he wants to do as much as he can so that when he leaves the company within the next year or two, he can just take a big bonus with them and get the fuck out and leave the company in shambles. Or what's left of the company at that point.
Yeah, there's the fucking remnants, as they would say.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why they did their merge with the Disney Plus bundle? They had like the Disney.
I think that's just trying to bring in some revenue, some split share revenue. That people go, oh, I like Disney Plus,
right?
But I also want to feel like I'm getting, it's like when you go to, we'll use an Eric analogy. It's like when you go to McDonald's and go, I'll get the Big Mac, I like the Big Mac, but hey, you can get fries and a Coke for an extra $3. That's Warner Brothers. That's the HBO Max there. So Big Mac is the Disney Plus. Chips and a fries, or fries and a drink, want to say, is HBO Max.
South Texas Shark here with a $5 super chat says, I didn't know this, but 3Dub's probably going to confirm this. Did you know in Florida, if the temperatures drop below 40 degrees, it can rain iguanas?
I can confirm this.
Oh, wow. That's pretty crazy.
Excuse me.
Why is that? What's the reason? Is it because of cold-blooded? Is that what it is? They kind of freeze up. Oh, wow. Well, that's not good for them. It's not good for people either.
Well, we also have raining sharks.
Wait, I don't believe that.
I'm close to the ocean, so raining sharks.
Wait. You're joking, right?
No, they actually come up to the not like actual raining, but they actually come up to the people on the close to the beach, which is really dangerous.
What?
Not
Hold
afraid
on.
of
Wait. 3W, you say some wild stuff, so let me confirm this. Sharks, like little dogs and cats, come up to people on the beach. Is that what you're saying?
Like no, like they come up to where the people are swimming, which is dangerous. Like,
okay. So like around the shore.
They're not land sharks. They don't like walk on land.
That's what when you said raining, I'm like, wait a minute, what? Like, hold on.
No, we're not raining cats and dogs here.
Okay, all right, that makes more sense. I got you now. I needed some 3W clarification on that one. Anyway. All right, so we got a couple more things here we're going to go over before we wrap up the stream tonight. Oh, Canada said, I heard leprechauns in Florida give out pots of gold. Well, maybe they do.
Yeah, we do have rainbows, so yeah.
So I think this is a quintessential locked in moment here from Daniel RPK. He didn't untag himself, so he must be locked in on this one. The script for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is quote unquote so good that James Gunn wants Anna Nogueira involved in multiple DCU projects.
Flash is so good.
I know, 3W, you hit the nail on the head for me. I hate this kind of publicity. I hate this. It sets up an unfair standard for the project when you have these kinds of things coming out so early before the movie comes out.
And also, it doesn't really matter because you can have the best script in the world, but if it's not directed and handled correctly, it could be a very mid movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the opposite, you can have a mid script that's directed really well and ends up being a much better movie than the script looks.
Yeah.
In fairness, though, like I could actually see some truth to this because I mean we've heard that script was amazing multiple times. We heard that like it was so good that it was like pushed ahead of like the Eternals and Batman and Swamp Thing. Like it was supposed to be a couple projects in, and they're like, nope, second project, second movie. And they've been they went a lot faster than anyone thought this project would. So I don't doubt that script is incredible. I don't doubt that it's a really, they're really cooking there.
He should say, I'm like really proud of the movie. He shouldn't like say it's so good.
Well, you got to remember, this isn't a quote from James Gunn.
It's not.
No, it's from Daniel RP.
From Daniel
I think Daniel RP got on the phone with James Gunn's like, can I get a quote on this? Like, that didn't happen.
Well, he did say the Flash was so good.
The Flash was really fucking good, but it's not a one for one adaptation, though. I don't think. Yours truly, just for the fact that Lobo's there. I think the fact that Lobo's there makes it. But then again, he's probably going to fill a role there. But I feel like they're going to have some sort of. I don't know if this is going to be like this. I don't know. I was thinking about it earlier today because I saw someone. What did I say? I saw it on Twitter, obviously, but it was someone presenting like if, let's say, like if Superman didn't do well, what do they do with Supergirl and Lanterns, which have already been done filming at that point, arguably maybe even Clayface. And I was like, well, if they're made in a way which you could almost present them as standalone films anyway, if you don't want to write them off like tax write-offs, which could easily be the case anyway. But maybe they're designed to be almost these like standalone things with.
I actually had an epiphany about that earlier that I was going to talk about.
An epiphany is that the term you want to use? What like?
Like a light bulb moment, sort of, while I was sitting around, like a little light bulb over the head moment, when it pops on and everything.
I don't have one of those.
I think that James Gunn's concept of everything not sort of tying together perfectly is a safeguard.
And there's probably like some fluid stuff in there where it's like we can include this scene that connects to Superman or has Superman in it. But it
just in case what you said happens, like if something doesn't work out, there's no direct connection to something, so you can just finish it off as its own storyline, own trilogy if you want.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
However, she is going to have the same crest as Superman in this universe and probably a similar costume, if I had to guess.
Well, I mean, I'm not surprised by the crest because in that thing that Gunn showed, like not the House of El, the Fortress of Solitude has the same symbol, which pisses me off, but because I would have preferred it was just like some weird artistic thing where like Superman's like, I'm going to make the S look this way for some reason. Yeah, so now we have to deal with that S for, I guess, forever in this DC.
Well, unless the suit changes like down the road and they
the Forge of
Then
Soul
he has
gets
to-
blown up.
And then he has to do some reconstruction of the Fortress of Solitude with his heat vision.
I don't know. I think they could change the symbol slightly if they wanted. Like, there's nothing stopping them from doing that. You know, if they want to. Look, if Supergirl's more popular than Superman, be prepared for John Campy to have another tantrum about Superman being a jobber. I think Supergirl will do solid. If Superman's good, I think Supergirl will do good.
Well,
but I don't think Supergirl will do better than Superman.
No, hypothetically, you should. I think we'd all agree what Supergirl will probably do like 20% less at least of what Superman would do at the box office, roughly.
Yeah.
The only reason I doubt myself in that is the Jason Momoa factor, because though I don't think he's going to be in the movie that much, they'll put him in all the advertising. He'll be on the poster. They're going to whore out Jason Momoa, G-string and all. Like, he's going to be. They're going to make sure that people know he's. Out? Well, hopefully he's locked in, but maybe the advertising will be geeking out for Momoa. But hopefully, I'd assume that they will do that. I guess the whole thing is that it's done well, but he's the only reason that I think like the movie might do better than I think a lot of people thought it initially would. Also, I think the only reason that in the back of my head I'm like sort of cautious about the movie doing well, which is weird to say because I want the movie to do well, is that I feel like if it does well, Gunn might go more in with Tom King, and that's I think could be a lot of people are worried about the Tom King factor. I think.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
he seems to be Gunn's right-hand man creatively, and if you know Tom King, you either like his stuff or you fucking. And no, it's not him as a writer, but like he either makes really good stuff or really bad stuff.
I was gonna say though, he's not one of those like middle of the road writers that appeals to everybody. He's got a very specific.
He's inconsistent, very inconsistent. So, and a lot of his good stuff is stuff where people don't really have expectations around it. So Supergirl, Wonder Tomorrow, Mr. Miracle, they just came out of nowhere. But the stuff where people are like, oh, he's on it, let's see what it's like. That's where people get disappointed. So I'd be very interested to see if that trips up the DCU in any way. I don't think Gunn would allow it to, but there's a potential there.
I really hope they don't do what they did with Man Web and just give the entire scene out of what Moa is going to do as Lobo.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think
I also don't think he's going to be in one scene. I don't think they'd bother with it.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the main, he's going to be the main antagonist of the movie, most likely.
Oh no, I don't think that. I think he'll only be in it for like 10 to 15 minutes. But I think he'll be like
more than Man Web.
It won't be the main antagonist. They've got the main antagonist, the villain from the comic. But I think they'll have him there as like some sort of thing where either maybe he's.
So you don't think they're going to force him in more screen time just because it's Jason?
Oh no, they'll put him in more screen time than if it was like.
I felt like there's going to be a big switcheroo that he was like the one she was fighting against. Or
no. I think that will use him more than if it was if they could. Well, I believe that Lobo's only in the movie because Momoa wants to play Lobo.
Oh,
right.
Okay, well.
They wouldn't use the character at all. They wouldn't use the character at all if Momoa wasn't interested, I don't think. But regardless of what that, I guess, role would have been, if it was just like some smaller, like random thing, I think it's going to be just he's doing a bounty. He's searching a bounty, whether it's Supergirl, whether it's the person that Supergirl's after, or just someone out there and they keep crossing paths. It might just be as simple that they just keep crossing paths in some way, just like little. Just to set up his existence there.
By the way, you guys have plenty of time to read Woman of Tomorrow, so go do that if you have
It's really good. It's definitely good.
I really hope they don't like nerf Lobo down because it's PG-13. I hope they allow him to.
Well, what do you mean by nerf him down though? Like,
to where he goes frack instead of fuck. You know, like
if PG-13, they have to. He only gets like.
I hope they push to. I hope they push it to an R-rated, like. To have a little bit, have a little bit of
Lobo. You can see that thing down the bottom where it says "Leave Studio." You may as well put that because that might be the dumbest thing we've heard today.
R-rated Supergirl.
You don't nerf him down.
Well, they're definitely going to do that.
Your whole market for Supergirl is going to have to be like
young girls,
young children. Yeah, like young girls that they can look up to a hero like this. Okay, so I did look up June 2026 dates because I was curious because they recently moved Shrek.
There's no smooth. No, so there's no Shrek. There's no Shrek.
So,
that's right.
Yes, yeah. So Shrek got moved to December. So I was like, oh, maybe it'll do better. So
Okay, well, Eric, can you delete those photos you have of Shrek dumping on Supergirl?
He's leaning.
Yeah,
That you had the.
Let's let Darren finish.
So this is the current lineup. Obviously, things will probably change. Things will probably move. So June 5th is the Masters of the Universe movie. That's the like He-Man movie. So that will still be in theaters at the time. June 19th. This is my biggest fear. Toy Story 5. That a couple like the week before this movie. Then June 23rd or June 26th is the Supergirl movie. And then July 1st, a couple days later, Minions 3.
Okay, so Eric, you have a choice of Minions, laughing at James Gunn, or Buzz Lightyear or something, or Woody.
I'm definitely going to see Supergirl because that's just me. But I feel like there might be
a big fan of the Minions.
No. There's going to be a struggle though. I think Toy Story is going to be a big struggle,
Yeah.
and Minions always does really well. So
well, they're both $1 billion movies.
Yeah.
And just through the rest of that month, you have like Moana that comes out. You have Spider-Man 4 that comes out. You have Paw Patrol.
Well, maybe Spider-Man 4. Spider-Man 4 is probably going to move.
Yeah, probably will.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched Toy Story since the second one.
You haven't seen 3?
No.
Get out of here, 3 dubs.
It's just I grew out of toys.
That's one.
It's Toy Story.
All right. We got some possible news about Sergeant Rock and Waller.
By the way, can I just say something?
Of course. What?
I believe deep down in my very soul, if I have one, the only reason Sergeant Rock is happening is because of Tom King. Apparently, Sergeant Rock is one of Tom King's favorite characters.
Oh my God! No, really?
Yeah.
Why?
I have no idea. The character to me has like zero appeal, but.
So we're getting Sergeant Rock and Waller going to film later this year, so 2025. It says the future of DCU is looking hype. I don't know if either one of these are like.
You got to realize this is the DCU hype guy. I think he's playing into that Transformers dude.
I get it. Yeah.
So it's like it's I guess it's satire, but it's also like just he's got a blue tick, so it's hard to trust him or them.
I think looking at these two properties, I think Waller will cross over with the DCU audience that likes Peacemaker, Creature Commandos, all of that. I think that's definitely the market for the Waller show. Sergeant Rock, I have no clue what that audience looks like. I really don't know what that is.
I think it's old heads because I think his comics were fairly popular in like the 70s or something like that. So maybe, but like I think once again, it's probably going to be a Clayface situation where it's low budget for them, like in comparison to like a Supergirl or something. So it might be like a $40-50 million movie. They probably have to make like 120, 150 probably to break even. So they probably go with that. And then there's even just the fact that it can go to Max and stuff like that. And if it builds the universe in some way, shape, or form. I know people saying, what if it's The Rock to play Sergeant Rock? What if it's like they just go full meme and they make it like Vin Diesel or something like that? Or
didn't they already have a rumored casting?
I think it's Daniel Craig, isn't it?
Yeah,
Daniel Craig, and it's meant to be like Luca Guadagnino is making it as well. Which makes it just like it just feels like a Joker situation to me as well. So
here's the issue I have though. One Marvel fan, G.I. Robot being in Sergeant Rock is almost too comical for what I think the film is trying to go for. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they will have G.I. Robot, which makes me question why even make that connection in Creature Commandos?
Unless they make it like, I don't know, because I don't know what the story would be in regards to when G.I. Robot went in with Easy Company and Sergeant Rock and stuff like that. So it might be a story before.
What happened?
I don't know.
Was that Paige?
Yeah, Paige froze.
Oh, well.
On an Nino and stuff like that.
Oh, there
seems like very super odd.
And he's continuing where you left off.
Did I lag out?
Yeah, you lagged out.
What was the last thing you heard me say?
Well, you finished your thought. It was just this weird gap.
Okay.
So, but R.I.P. Paige. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is a hot take. I actually think this movie is a good idea. I think.
Wait, which
I think it's a
Sergeant
good idea.
Rock?
I think it's a good idea financially because I don't. It's just like Clayface. I'm like, how do they not make money? They have to suck, or like one person sees it.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. Like, I think what DC's doing. I think we talked about this before. I think they're trying to streamline their audience. I think they're trying to change of what people think of when they think of a comic book movie or a comic book show. And I actually think that's important for the medium to survive. I think you need to evolve. And I think we're going to see several different genres of DC. We're going to see a war movie and a horror movie and a space epic and a comedy. Like, I think we're going to see all these different things. And I think a movie like this every once in a while, and I'm not especially excited for it. Like, I'm not, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see this. But I think having a low budget, like, war movie could actually do very well for the representation of DC. It's going to bring money in. Could even be like an Oscar kind of movie if done right. Like, Oscars.
Not if GI Robot's in it. Not if GI Robot's in it. It has to be like.
I mean, I think you could do it like as long as it's in small doses. It's not too over the top.
I think
you could do it.
I just, in my mind, I'm thinking, like, if they're going to put this war movie out, right, and they want it to feel like we talked about the director, the actor in it, like Daniel Craig, I don't see Daniel Craig in a movie with a robot that just constantly says, I want to kill Nazis. Like, I
think they might tone down the silliness of what was in Creature Commandos. Like, I don't think he's going to be saying, is there a Nazi in the corner? Where is the Nazi? I don't know if it's going to be that.
Well, what I'm saying, though, is...
Or it could be something where they could easily do it, like, if they want to, they could do it like a Saving Private Ryan from the different perspective or something, and Sergeant Rock is Private Ryan.
Not with a robot.
No, but
like,
he's
the
not
robot changes the whole thing.
No. You can have G.I. Robot in there, but he's hardly in the movie. He's in there before Sergeant Rock gets separated, and he's on the other side. He's the one trying to get to Sergeant Rock, and they're trying to meet up. And he gets stuck behind him in enemy lines or something like that.
Look, I'm not opposed to the Sergeant Rock movie. Let me tell you my issues here. I think this type of stuff being greenlit before the stuff that DC fans actually want is a little weird. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I don't think you can sell me on GI Robot in a old school military movie, like trying to be high art. I don't see it. It just, to me, there's a malfunction in my brain with that does not work. I would have to see what that looks like in a clip for me to be able to rationalize what that is. And
to be fair, though, Eric, I don't think it's for us necessarily. Like,
I
think
definitely
more
not.
For the casual audience. It's like a war movie, all right. And I think it's for people to be like, oh, DC Studios, okay, they make good movies, all right. Because honestly, I almost think that's slightly more important right now than like us really vibing a movie. Is for one, reviews being good, and like for people like changing the mind of what DC can be, and also money, right? But let me get money back in there.
But also, let me put my other concern out there.
Sure.
This could be like the Sony stuff. This could be Craven. This could be Morbius. This could be Madam Web. This could be one of those things where you went so far away from your target audience that not only did you miss your target audience, but you missed the casual audience as well.
I disagree with you there, Garrett, because I think the Sony movies were trying to get that target audience, but they just had no fucking idea what they were doing.
Right.
I think with this, they know what they're doing. I don't think their Sergeant Rock is meant to appeal to the person that's looking forward to Superman.
But to be fair, you thought the Flash movie was going to be a smash hit too. You said it was going to be $1 billion movie.
Yeah, but also so did the box office analysts. So that's obviously just one of those like.
We'll see what happens. My prediction is if this movie, if Sergeant Rock comes out and they go for like this art house war film, there's a potential for it to be a big hit. If they make it like Guardians of the Galaxy in war times with GI Robot, I think it's going to completely miss the mark.
But I think the whole point is like, once again, I don't think if they do this, he's not like GI Robot's not going to be in the movie that much at all. It's, as I said, it's going to be from very, like, as the title of the movie would suggest, very Sergeant Rock heavy. And like, I don't know, I don't think it's going to be an art house war film. Like, I just looked up, Saving Private Ryan cost $70 million to make.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now, of course, that gets adjusted for inflation because I'm pretty sure that's $70 million from back in the 90s. But it still cost $70 million to make. And that was a fairly big war film. So if you do something where, like, like in, Wonder Woman when they're like going through the villages and stuff like that. Like something like that, you could make a really.
But Wonder Woman is a completely different level of character than Sergeant.
No, but I'm just saying that style of thing, with like in regards to like the level of it. Like,
so what's the hook then? So okay, I'm following you here. What is the hook for Sergeant Rock outside of it just being a DC property? Like, what would pull people in for
that? Just depends on what angle the story is. Like, as I said, is it him with Easy Company, or do they go like a behind enemy lines where he gets captured?
But how do you advertise a war film without ties to real war stuff? Is my question.
Well,
all these other war movies that we have some sort of real life connection to it. Like, would you put him in Vietnam? Like, is that where the character would be?
Well, no. You put. I think the most interesting thing you could do is set it in World War II, so you get the war enthusiasts to go, okay, but you have the twist where it's in this DC universe where we know metahumans and all these superhero stuff have existed for a while.
That'd be cool.
So you could have a different, like an interesting twist there where there are maybe troops that literally have metahuman abilities if you want to go down that route. And you can have like obviously that comes down to the angle of the story you want to go with, but that's like
that sounds good to me. But I think that also pulls away from the audience.
But that's the thing.
A war movie.
But that's the thing. You give everyone a bit of both. That was the thing with Wonder Woman as well. Like Wonder Woman,
I think that's a bad
appeal
idea.
To a lot of different things. I know it could be a bad idea, but you know what? The movie's not going to cost much to make, so you can have something where it is a bit of a controversial idea, but you're not putting 150 million into this movie. It's not like with Superman, where that movie's probably cost 150 to 200, and some people might not like the tone. They might not like. The tone think
so. Look, my pitch on this would be fuck everything DC. That would be my pitch on this. Make this movie, put it in World War II. Give it a identity of its own. Do not connect it to anything DC related, not even GI Robot, and just make a war film.
I disagree. I think it should be mostly just World War II centered, and the focus should be telling a good war film through whatever perspective you want to do, whether it is as a company, him by himself behind enemy lines, or Lost, or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But I think there still needs to be that element if you want to set it in this world, and what Gunn has said, where this, metahumans have existed for a while, you have to plant it in there. Don't make it the major focus, but still make it a present thing.
You could also Easter egg. You could also Easter egg like the JSA because they were a part of World War II.
See, that's the thing.
If they might not set the JSA in World War II, the JSA might be like an 80s or 70s.
I think a Sergeant Rock movie with him, the name of the movie is Sergeant Rock. Any character outside of him that is more powerful or more important is going to diminish the title of the film. He has to be the main character.
Yeah, I know, but you're making the main character. And you don't. If you have anyone that is quote more powerful or more threatening, they're an antagonist, or they're not on the good side. Like make it like some fucked up Nazi or something that has like.
Well, Fetman says something about like a zombie thing. But look, I'm going to even throw a wrench in the gear of this. Marvel Zombies is branding power, so I think that's going to be fine. And I also think like your zombie franchises that are already out there, they're already seeing diminishing returns. We're seeing that in a lot of the zombie franchises. I think the zombie era of like people will go see it. It's kind of gone.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't do zombies. I think if you're going to do anything that goes beyond just a standard soldier, it's someone with a metahuman power. And don't make him overpowered. Make it like a guy that like can go invisible, maybe, or can like blend in like camouflage powers or something like that.
The only thing, Short Car, is when I think of Sergeant Rock and what I know of this character, he doesn't really interact with the stuff like the superhero stuff as much as like Captain America or any of these other characters.
Right.
It's really just a military army type comic book. So,
not gonna lie, like Short Car and me keep having the same thoughts. First was like the Jonah Hex Western thing to add on to what Darren was saying.
Well, look, they tried a Jonah Hex movie. It didn't do so well as far as I remember. I didn't think it was an awful film.
But it was. Eric, it was pretty fucking ass. Like, let's be completely honest.
I think it was mid. It was okay. It wasn't awful. I didn't think I've seen worse movies than Jonah Hex.
There's worse movies, but it wasn't very good.
Right, but what I'm saying is though, like, I wouldn't necessarily jump into Jonah Hex as a DCU.
Jonah Hex is like, I wouldn't even touch Jonah Hex. He's just so disconnected. At least, like, Sergeant Rock is in the 40s. And we know that there's going to be some connected to the present from the past at that point. So, Jonah Hex is a bit too like, well, that's a century before. I think it's just too far.
Yeah. So we've only got a couple more topics here we're going to cover, and then we're going to wrap it up. But I want to talk briefly about this because this is hilarious to me. So James Mangold says the Swamp Thing movie will be a simple gothic horror movie. Fine. No issues with that. I'm looking forward to seeing what he would do with Swamp Thing. He goes, while I'm sure DC views Swamp Thing as a franchise, I'll be viewing it as a very simple, clean gothic horror movie. My only issue...
Bring the alarm bells, Eric.
So my only issue with this is if you want to do a standalone movie, why the fuck are you trying to get involved with the franchise? Why?
We're ringing the bells.
That's just me. That's just me.
I mean, this is exactly this is what I would do with something too. I think I don't think everything in the DCU has to feel connected. I don't think they have to, be in unison. And again, I actually think this is important to the DCU survival, is to have these more standalone things, these more things like James Gunn has been saying, not having to do all this homework for every single project.
I don't think he means connected though. I think he means Swamp Thing as a franchise. So like the Swamp Thing character as being more than one film. That's what I think he means. Unless he means like being connected. Look, I'm okay with Swamp Thing being disconnected in the beginning from like, you know what I mean? Like the Swamp Thing movie having nothing to do with Superman or whatever. But the green is obviously going to play a big part.
Right.
In the, so it can't be but so disconnected. I'm not totally disagreeing with you, but I think there has to be some threads there that they cover, because a gothic horror movie, if Swamp Thing is not at a certain level, if it doesn't have that mysticism that it normally has, and it's not something that permeates, and it's just Swamp Thing is like a disfigured creature in the swamp, I don't think that's going to work for what James Gunn wants to do. I would rather this be a standalone. If that's what his vision is, and that's what they want to do, I would rather this be a standalone Elseworlds Swamp Thing, and them do something completely different with the DCU. That would be my only.
The biggest issue that we're seeing so far, and he sort of plays into it here, and like to go to the MCU quickly, one thing that's pretty like clear with the MCU at the moment is that there's disconnect between people in certain projects, because there doesn't seem to be this through line where projects don't necessarily one leads directly into the other, but there's some sort of connective tissue and through line. DC needs to have that if it wants to build in a consistent fan base in regards to not just going to see the films, but also keeping them relevant and discussion. Because that was something that literally kept out Marvel, even when they weren't maybe releasing some good stuff.
Anthony says, like this is Darren. Like honestly, this is kind of the thing with James. He's a brilliant director. Like I love his take on stuff. I think he's got a lot of great visions, but he keeps. And this is one of the comments I keep seeing, is he keeps jumping into franchise stuff when he doesn't want to do franchise stuff. Like I have no issue with what he's saying. What he's pitching me, I'm buying it. Gothic horror movie, Swamp Thing. Right. I love the series. I love this. But James Gunn clearly has plans for this supernatural DC stuff to tie in together. And I don't want this movie to butt heads with whatever that is, because I feel like that's important. So my question to you would be, what would it look like for you? Say, for example, this were something that you were putting together. What would this look like for you if you were jumping into a franchise like James Mangold is doing, but you're like, I don't want to do all the bells and whistles, but there still has to be a connected universe? How much oversight does that look like to you as someone coming in to this? Like if this were your project?
Sure. I would be very curious too, because you're right. Like, I guess that's something I never really considered. Swamp Thing is connected to a much larger thing within the DC universe. And I think that's kind of like what we see, where it's like having a director have his vision, have his passion, but maybe have slight course correction, have slight being like, okay, add this thing, add this thing, add this thing, but do your own thing, have your own story. I also think you could do that later as well if you want. Like, I think you can have a more standalone monster movie and then retroactively later in like a Justice League or a something else, like be like, oh, okay, this is where he gets his powers. Okay, like maybe like a Constantine or a Zatanna or Justice League Dark or something like that. Kind of fill in the lore of the character a little bit.
It's funny you mentioned Constantine. Anthony comes in here with like, I'd like to see a Constantine cameo in this.
Well, that's the thing. I think with this thing, it's like something where it wouldn't surprise me if you got you got Constantine or whoever it might be,
Right.
just to build up that supernatural side of the
Do we
DC
think?
world.
Do we think James walks away from this project?
I don't think it's too surprising that the two projects that there's a lot of question mark as to whether there's been zero updates. Like Mangold's only talking about it now because he's got that Bob Dylan movie coming out,
which I think is going to be great.
Well, yeah, it comes out here. It came out yesterday. Oh no, it comes out either next week or it came out today here in Australia.
I think it's going to do great. I think that's going to be a great movie.
But it's not surprising that this and the Batman Brave and the Bold with Andy Muschietti were the first two movies that had directors outside of James Gunn, and they're the ones where who's writing this? Is James Mangold writing it?
I don't even know. Let me click this and see.
What's also interesting is he has Star Wars. Like he has that big Star Wars prequel.
And he's not gonna do two franchise things back to back. He's gonna do his own thing somewhere in there.
Yeah, like if I was him and you said, okay, a Swamp Thing movie or a Star Wars prequel movie that will probably be the earliest we see the franchise, you're picking Star Wars. Like Star Wars is the obvious choice out of the two. So we're either waiting a very, very long time for Swamp Thing.
Yeah,
or
I think he is going to write it as well, because he says here it's a matter of how do we find a way on the page to say something original. So
okay, I think he has a co-writer. I think he has a person that he usually writes his films with. I can't remember the name is because I think he did with Logan and stuff. I think he has a co-writer.
Honestly, this kind of feels like a creative difference that somehow is moving forward. Like you can do your own thing with the creative differences from the actual DCU. What he wants it. Basically, James Gunn's a connected universe. This isn't connected.
I actually think James Gunn is going to run into problems the way he's doing things, and I want to see how he navigates it. I'm very curious to see how he navigates it because I want him to be successful, but he's going to have to be very creative on how he allows directors to have their freedom, but doesn't oversee them. That's really.
As I said to you, I said on the stream maybe a month ago or something. This lines up, and even with Supergirl to an extent from what we know, and Clayface, for example, I think a lot of the movie stuff is going to be very standalone, and he's going to push the story and the massive narrative stuff through the shows, like with Lanterns, Waller, arguably maybe even Peacemaker Season 2 if he wants to sprinkle some post-Superman reaction sort of stuff there. I think that's what you're going to see. And
Anthony's geeked out and locked in his picture there.
And the only issue with that is that when you what are you building up to? Are you building up to a crisis movie, whatever that crisis movie might be, and then what happens in that movie? Because I don't know if anyone else here thinks I don't really care too much about there being a Justice League movie. I want it to be a crisis movie because then you can bring in a character like Swamp Thing, you can bring in Booster Gold, you can bring in a person that's not a part of the Justice League. A Justice League can be there, but you can bring in all these other characters to be in that movie as well. It's like with the Avengers, it's a very open door who's in the Avengers.
I want a team up movie, but I don't need it to be Justice League. I'd like a team up movie that doesn't necessarily have the.
And to be honest, I don't think Justice League necessarily has this massive branding. To be honest, I think you can do I'd like if they're big event films where Crisis, whether it's something Crisis or Crisis something, whatever it is. I think that would be the cooler way to go, and it gives DC that brand as well.
Crisis on Two Earths live action. Do that.
Right.
Not even that. I prefer if it wasn't necessarily even straight up adapting something, but make it your own thing. You have those comics like Identity Crisis, Infinite Crisis, Crisis on Earth and stuff. But you can do whatever Crisis. It could be Jungle. Well, sounds fucking gay, stupid and stuff. A bit grimy and not very good.
What did you say? What were you gonna Jungle? What were you gonna say?
Jungle Crisis. And then I thought that sounds like a Disney class,
Planet of Gorilla Grodd.
Yeah, gorillas and stuff God, it's not.
Yeah. So,
actually, you know what?
Yeah,
that would be a good one from Fett.
Midlife Crisis. That's a good one there.
But what could that be? Okay,
Identity Crisis.
Right.
Well, that's already one. That would probably be the best story to adapt. I think in the DCU. I think that'd be. I'm not too sure about that one, Zaya. That might be a bit too far. I think Eric's already gone through that.
All right. So.
Oh, by the way, did you see there's that Diddy documentary?
Yes, I saw it when I logged in.
I haven't watched it, but it's got
I haven't watched it either.
I'm
sure it's going to be enlightening. But I thought we'd end off with something exciting that's on brand with everything we've talked about. Okay.
Is this
And
Gooning related or?
It is Gooning related. And that is
Dolphin related.
There's a new Goonies movie reportedly in the works at Warner Brothers. So I wanted to just point that out. Along with the Gremlins, by the way. Apparently Gremlins is on the
I was going to say, I saw that, there's also a Gremlins thing.
Okay, so all jokes aside with the Gooning stuff, I actually think that this movie and Gremlins, bringing these back, is fine with me. I don't have an issue with either one of these coming back and doing something. Darren, so you're apprehensive. I want to hear what you have to say.
So I think Gremlins, I think that's a great idea. I think there's so many things you can do with that. You can easily bring it into a modern world. I think that makes sense for franchises. Goonies, I think, is the one that's going to be harder. Because I think you have two roads you could do here.
Right.
One, you could bring back the old cast for a legacy sequel, which I don't know how fun that is, because isn't the fun of Goonies that they're like kids, like that?
Yes,
they're kids going on this adventure.
Something very much that Skeleton Crew has. Like, I feel like that's a good idea of what the Goonies would be. You know what I mean?
Right. Or you could do like a reboot. You could have a new continuity with new kids, with new whatever.
But does it have the same charm as the original Goonies? That's the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Unless you have it be it's like the kids of the older kids or whatever.
Right.
Like you can go that route.
I think one way you could do it is like you do Goonies in particular, because I think Gremlins is the one where you could just do whatever.
Right.
With Goonies, I think like a good idea is maybe if you want to do it where you just have the kids that are older and they have their own families, and maybe you could have it that maybe one of the characters dies or whatever, they have to come back. There's a specific reason to come back to town or something, and they go back to the town where they obviously the original movies took place, and the kids of the original Goonies get caught up in something, or they go on their own adventure and stuff like that.
I don't think
but it's interesting because you have
anything is attached to this, Maestro. I think it's just they just announced that they're reportedly doing a continuation or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean they're both Spielberg movies, so it's not too surprising that there might be that. As with there, but you could have you have Ke Quan who's now back in it. You have Josh Brolin like post Thanos. I mean like Sean Astin and stuff.
Right.
Like you could bring. I mean Eric's favorite Corey Feldman could come back into the fold.
You could have Thanos. You could bring Thanos in. So
yeah, and then you can bring What's it Sloth? What's the guys? Is it Sloth?
Yes. You talking the
guy that sort of looks like you,
the candy bar guy or whatever. Yeah.
Whatever he does. Yeah.
I don't even know if they would have him because I feel like that might not even be appropriate for today's audiences.
Fucking softies.
They might. I'm not saying that's what they're going to do. I'm saying they might not. I'm not saying they wouldn't.
Oh god.
They might consider doing that.
So soft nowadays, Eric.
Yeah, I know. Well, they're not locked in. That's the problem. According to the Critical Drinker,
he was 100% geeking out downstairs.
Yeah. According to Critical Drinker, no one is watching Skeleton Crew. I don't think it really
who cares?
I don't know how to respond to that crap anymore. Like I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
like what does that even matter, really? Like Byron, no offense to you, but like I just feel like Critical Drinker says stuff. Like they just say dumb shit.
He just says like whoever. Like those type of channels just say stuff like it's pointless. But I think this sounds sort of cool. I just hope they'd keep it make it feel real. Still like not use like one of the coolest things about Goonies is that they built that set with the pirate ship. Like they flooded the stage. Like that was a real thing that the kids jumped into.
Yeah.
That was a real pirate ship that they could climb onto. Yeah. Like Goonies holds up because it's not like it's ridiculous like special effects and stuff. So I'd love to see that. And with Gremlins, I mean, I don't think you have to bring back any of the. I mean, I don't think you have to. I don't think.
No, just do a new cast.
Yeah, do a new cast. If that's the one where I think you could just do a complete reboot. I think Goonies, would be cool if it was like a legacy sequel. But I think like Gremlins, I think they could just do a complete reboot. But just cast very likable people where people would buy into the reboot.
I mean, they would probably even go harder with Gremlins and make it like a horror movie, like 100% a horror movie, most likely.
Well, maybe make it like a Stranger Things type level. Maybe going a bit beyond Stranger Things where kids can still watch it. But maybe not make it where it's like full on like blood and gore and like the Gremlins are like ripping people's faces off and stuff like that. But make it where they could be killing people and like because like the original one, like he kills like the Gremlins kill people, but it's done in like they cut off
100%.
screen and stuff, but you see how they're going to die. But like they cut off screen, like a car's going to run over them or something. But that's the one where you can just, because I think it's the biggest issue with reboots. They cast people that people don't really care about, or they're a bit like on the line actors where they're not overly likable. Like they're good in some roles, but it's like the general audience goes, "Oh, I love that actor," you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's with Gremlins, you'd have to sort of cast that fairly well, I think, to make people buy into it. I think it's the better one for a reboot over Goonies because people just compare it. Like everyone would go, "Oh, who's the Josh Brolin character? Who's the Eric's favorite actor, Corey Feldman character?"
Yeah. All right. Well, that's where we're going to wrap everything up. I did see somebody ask about the Neil Gaiman stuff. I was going to talk about it tonight, but I don't have like the full amount of time that I'd normally have. So I'll talk about that on Saturday. We'll do it on the 5-hour stream. If anybody wants to cover that, talk about that. It's a very serious topic, but I'll set.
Did you get any correspondence from the nation of the UK?
No, I've not heard from Ben or Boba. So
trade relations have shut down.
We'll see. Yeah, apparently Brexit is real. Anyway, so thanks everybody for being here. Thank you guys for donating. There's going to be another, because you guys did it, you hit the goal. So we're gonna do another fan film reaction stream. Maybe it'll be as fun. The last one was crazy. That second fan film was ridiculous, but maybe we'll see another one like that down the road. But I'll be scheduling that for next week sometime. But this Saturday is the 5-hour stream. There's no planned snowstorms, so hopefully no issues there. Actually, there is a snowstorm planned next week, but it's on Tuesday. So
do you know what I have heard is planned?
What?
A gritty storm.
There might be a gritty storm outside, baby.
There's gonna be a flood of gritty.
Maybe. I'm gonna put the post up in the community tab for fan films. Anything that you guys want us to watch. I probably will do the Star Wars one that's like 20 minutes long, but I'll do that one on the 5-hour stream. So if you guys are there for the 5-hour stream, I'll probably do that as the first thing because that'll probably take an hour to get through, it being 20 minutes. But anybody that wants to stop in for that can. And want to thank Darren for being here. Thank you so much for showing up and hanging out. 3Dub for showing off his new graphic there, because I don't think we've seen that one. Pagey's face. Pagey used to be on stream. He doesn't show his face much anymore, but with the beginning of these streams, he did show his face, and then he stopped doing it for whatever reason. So
there's a face reveal.
Yeah, that's a face reveal. But anyway, Pagey, thanks for hanging out, and thanks everybody else for being here. We will see you on Saturday for the 5-hour stream. Everybody stay safe, stay cool, and take care.
Stay woke.